Every Thursday night, you ask the questions, DT gives you his answers. No holds barred.
This is your chance to speak your mind and be heard about anything.
Q&A with Don Tony. And now, your host, Don Tony.
What's up, everybody? Thursday night, February 25th. Can you believe February is over already? Unbelievable. Not a bad week. Got the ratings. Got the contest ready for all of you. Oh, I almost forgot. We don't need no template tonight. And there you go. Big shout out, little roll call. Now, for those that are fairly new to the show, for everybody who is live right now, you're not obligated to do it, and you don't have to give us your address or your phone number. You don't even have to put your city. But next to your name, write the state or the country that you're tuning in to right now, so I can do some quick shout outs, and then we'll get right into the show. Oh, man, I took a dump literally 5 minutes before we went live. Yes, I washed my hands. It's still damp, actually. I kid you not. You know, I usually take dumps only in the morning when you first wake up, but for some reason tonight, I don't know, I had to go. Liam Savage, that's why we were 2 minutes late. Like Cesaro in the Elimination Chamber. Liam Savage from Toronto. Tony Gloss from PA. Austin, I don't know from where. Left Twix from Colorado. Ted Turner from Ottawa. Chris Maycock, tuning in from Bermuda. Austin Nance from Alabama. Sterling is from Birmingham. Dayhawk is from his mom's vagina. Micro Articolo is from Connecticut. Legend Jim Bob is from Tennessee. Joe New is from New York. Gregory, Astoria, awesome. Sure, I used to play pool in Astoria. It used to be a really cool pool hall right near the highway over there. I think the Clearview Expressway, right off of Bell Boulevard. Big Dick Cheney from Ontario. Space Mountain Whoop from Charlotte, North Carolina. Where else? Harris from St. Louis. Troy Stevens from Pittsburgh. Rice over here from Ontario. Joey Dollars from Watertown, New York. Larry Rovers from Texas. And it goes on and on and on. By the way, I couldn't get a Team Extreme shirt, so instead I got a Team Vaccine shirt. Tell you, a week ago from today, got the second shot of the vaccine. Didn't have too much as far as side effects went. Who's our first super chatter of the night? Steve Joseph, Cuomo's sexual harassment. Is it over for him? You know, I always have to preface this with a disclaimer. Let me remind everyone out there that I am not a fan of Cuomo. I don't like what's going on. In fact, I'm going to make a little accusation tonight about our country as a whole. Something tells me some of you, even tuning in from overseas, may agree with me on this. But with that said, I think Cuomo is Teflon. I know the nursing home situation was all fucked up. But you see, this is what happens when you brainwash people that Trump is responsible for everything. And I'm not defending Trump right now. Trump screwed up in a lot of ways. But in the end, you know, you got a lot of people that are disconnected from the nursing home situation. Yes, a lot of families were affected. But in the end, the guy still has like a 50% approval rating. Cuomo ain't going anywhere unless there is concrete proof, unless you hear his voice, unless you see stuff that he has written. Cuomo ain't going nowhere. He's not going anywhere. You know, I know people write the catchy emotional tweets online. He ain't going anywhere. I mean, that's just the fact. I don't like it just as much as a lot of you out there, but he ain't going anywhere. He ain't going anywhere. Wow, it's like a Christmas tree right now. Look at that. Lots of colors, lots of super chats. Who's next on the agenda? SoFly. Never told me, man, he worked in a deli. So when I get back into wrestling, we could be a team like Ice Train and Scott Norton. I'm cool, man. I'm cool. I actually talked to someone tonight online who really got a kick of that little teaser video that I'm going to play tonight of me doing a little bit more. Because, look, a lot of you out there want to see it. I'm going to pull them all out of the archive. We're going to share it. Now, I'm not trying to make anybody think that I'm keeping stuff away from everyone out there, but for my members, to the family out there, this weekend I'm going to post complete matches, not even stuff about me, but stuff where I manage and this and that. We'll play highlights here, but some of these matches go 15, 20 minutes, and I don't think anybody wants to go through watching all of that. But we'll play a couple of clips tonight. I think next week we'll return with some Lenny audio and Howie, and hey, maybe we'll even throw a little video footage of yours truly as well. But I was talking to somebody tonight who saw the teaser video of what I'm playing tonight, and the guy's like, man, that wasn't bad. And I had to remind him that that was only the second time I was ever out there in the arena. No training at the time. People trying to sabotage my shit before I even started. Now, what you see tonight was only the second time I was ever on camera. And, once COVID is out of here, I have 3 different promotions. And if anybody out there thinks that I'm jiving you, anybody thinks that I'm BSing, just wait once COVID goes away, because 2 of those 3 promotions have already said it publicly that they would love for me to do a little managing for them. And honestly, I'm going balls ahead, full steam ahead. As long as I could physically and emotionally be able to handle the workload, I'm doing it. My fiance's kind of gave me her blessing also, as long as it doesn't interfere in our lives. But I want to enjoy myself. Life's too short. Life's too short. And I'm going to share something in a minute. News that broke late last night that if you follow the Wednesday shows that I do especially, you know that this really, really upset the shit out of me. Before we do that, I want to give a shout out to Crazy Cruiserweight. My overall thoughts on Salamonster and the Chris Van Vliet interview. See, I got the letters right. Last night I thought it was CW. Yes, the print was a little too small on my computer. And Tucker is not in WWE anymore. He was let go. We actually cleared it up last week. My views on Jason Salamonster is this. Jason is a very good guy. I met him in person. He is a really, really genuinely nice guy. A lot of people wanted this feud between him and I for years and years and years. People convinced us that we hated each other, and I swear to you, could ask Jason if I'm making it up. When I met him almost 2 years ago in Brooklyn, the first words out of his mouth was, "Why do I hate you?" And we had a good laugh, and that broke the ice. I like him. Obviously, his style is totally different than mine. It's not a competition with Jason. It's not a competition with any podcast out there, because I have learned through watching others and reading and trying to research, especially YouTube and how the machine goes, and that's why you're starting to see a little bit of tweaking here and there. A lot of you out there will tune into 5, 10 different podcasts. This isn't like the wrestling hotlines from back in the day where you wanted to tune into only one, the one that gave you the best news, most credible sources, and best opinions. That's it. Here, you could split, the views. I don't care I do care if you tune in live, because it's fun interacting with all of you out there. It is a joy. And you know what? I don't normally do this, but I'm going to do it tonight. I appreciate support. And for 2 years, and you notice that I have dramatically cut that out of the shows. I vowed in 2021 not to bring up, the people that are backstabbers and everything else. But I've said it for 2 years. Whenever I post announcements, good things, progress, anything about me, you notice there is a group of people that are always visibly absent, that disappear from social media for a day or two. And then once everybody else comments on it, it's like they realize wow, if I don't comment, then I'm going to be the only person out of everybody that didn't. And I know some people comment simply because they want their face out there. And case in point, not going to mention any names, but you all were so thoughtful to give well wishes for my dad when he went in for heart surgery a couple of weeks ago. He's doing good, taking it very, very slow, still can't drive, still can't do a lot of what he does. In fact, something that I did with my mom today, this week, that almost had me crying. And I'll tell you later on. And when I tell you, a lot of you, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. You're going to be like, holy shit. Same goes for me when I tell you. But so many of you sent well wishes. And it was so overwhelming that you saw the same group of people that visibly became absent on social media. Then at the very end, posting comments. And it was 3 or 4 that DM'd me and actually said to me, DT, I sent well wishes to your dad. I don't know if you saw it. And this isn't just regular friends like all of you out there. These are people that needed to be acknowledged, needed to be noticed that they're giving a well wish. I didn't even answer any of them. But I'm going to do something now that makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. I don't like the hashtag. If you notice, I don't like the hashtag wrestlers. I don't like the hashtag promotions. I will do it if I'm promoting a show and we're going to talk about Dynamite. Of course, I'm going to write AEW Dynamite. But even when I talk about wrestlers, I don't hashtag names because I think a lot of people do that because they want to be noticed. You know, if you really care about something, you don't care really if you're noticed or not of the person. You express how you feel, and that is it. And earlier today, I posted a screenshot of how much progress you and I have had throughout the month of February. You know, full steam ahead. Look at all the people that made all these promises for 2021. We're already approaching March, and there's a shitload of people that have yet to do anything because they just wanted to hype it up and to feel like they were part of the conversation. So I posted it, and the usual people disappear. But I thought this was so fucking cool. Oh, it'd be even cooler if I take this off. Hold on. All right, there we go. There we go. It was so cool to see this. I didn't hashtag him. You know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know? And all it was I'm humbled by all of your support out there. Wasn't talking about any wrestlers, and shit like that feels good. Getting DMs from a lot of you out there, emails, and even people that you see on TV. Hey man, keep doing what you're doing. Love the hustle. Go for yours. This and that. It feels good. It feels good because the people you see on TV are human beings. You know, all this shit about Big Show the last 24 hours. I mean, why are people getting so triggered that don't like AEW, that don't like the Big Show? Why do you care? Why do you care? And that's the thing I don't understand. So anyway, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the support. And I'm here for you. And in the very near future, might be next week, week later, week after at the longest, I have been challenged to do a 12-hour show. Non-stop, 12 hours. Maybe there'll be some charity involved as well. I will have a couple of video boxes on the screen in case a couple of guests want to come on and chat for a little bit. And I don't expect any of you to tune in for the full 12 hours. But the idea is on a Saturday or on a Sunday, we start maybe like around lunchtime, and then we finish until midnight and just go 12 hours and have fun. Just talk about whatever's on your mind. We will hit every goddamn topic possible. Now, Thursday nights, all the shows are yours, obviously, but Thursday nights, technically, I sit back and whatever you all want to talk about, that's what we'll talk about. Before we start that, I have to mention some horrible news that we found out late last night. Now, you have heard me praise This guy, one of my favorites in NWA. I was going to get the freaking flag, but it would have taken up the whole entire backdrop of the show. But, and you've heard me do impersonations of him over the Wednesday night Don-O-Mite episodes. Karate! Karate! I haven't heard him lately, but for those that aren't aware, man, this sucks. The question mark, Joseph Hudson, Jocephus, died last night. No cause of death. No one was aware of any illness. He died. Now, obviously, many of you know him more than anything with his work with Aaron Stevens, the question mark. Some of you knew him as Jocephus and some other characters. Hell, some of you knew him as the person who portrayed Bruiser Brody in the Device Dark Side of the Ring. We don't know how old he was. My guess is he was around 40. That's my guess, around 40. And I don't think it's a curse of Bruiser Brody, because you think of Brody Lee, a lot of people, including me, thought that his facial with the beard and the hair and his size, early on, I always used to remember the hotlines. Remember the early podcasts when Brody Lee first came around? Luke Harper, NXT. Remember when we played that first Bray Wyatt promo from the shrimp boat, when he was doing a Forrest Gump impersonation? Thought he reminded me a lot of Bruiser Brody. Now we have another guy who portrayed Bruiser Brody, and he dies almost the same age as Brody Lee. It just goes to show you, man, you never know. You never know. I mean, question mark had a little gut, but that guy was in 10 times better shape than me and a lot of you out there. And still, family man, beloved by his peers, really, really down-to-earth guy. I mean, forget NWA for a second, because obviously NWA, no wrestling promotion is just a one person makeup. Unless you're Hogan or Austin or Rock or something like that, it's a group. But, man, that just hits you in the gut. Seriously, hits you in the gut. Some people think COVID. Some people are thinking a lot of different things. Like I said about Brody Lee's passing, we are not owed an explanation. Of course, when someone passes away very, very young, hell, I can't even mention his name right now because I got to get more details, and I'm not even sure what his last name is. There was a wrestler in CZW. I think his first name is Daquan. He's only been wrestling for 2 or 3 years, and he died yesterday. And he was probably in his early 20s. No idea what happened. It's just, you can't take it for granted that we're going to be on this earth 70, 80, 90 years, man. I mean, God. Daniel, oh my God, look at that. Kevon Lewis bringing up that today. Daniel Benoit, who was killed by his father, would have been 21 years old. Wow. That's so sad, man. It really is. But our condolences to the family and friends, especially, of Jocephus, Joseph Hudson. If any additional details come out and details that we're supposed to know about, I will share it with you. Maybe I'll have something tomorrow. But man, see, the years are Lee, Mish and I talked about it Monday. Remember several years ago, that confrontation on Monday Night Raw, the Wyatt family and the Shield, and all they did is have a stare down, and the crowd chanted, "This is awesome. Holy shit. Holy shit." They didn't even fight yet. They were just staring at each other. Holy shit. That was 7 years ago. Seven. It's just crazy how fast time flies. You know, I remember when I was in my 20s and I was approaching 30, I remember somebody saying to me, really enjoy what you're doing now. Once you hit 30, before you know it, you're 40. Before you know it, you're 50. Before you know it, you're 60. Wow. Wow. Prince Ali, he publicly admits that he suffers from depression. I'm sure a lot of you out there battle it. I battle it a little bit. I mean, I've had people say to me, DT, do you keep yourself uber busy so your mind doesn't wander and think? And in a lot of ways, yes. I am still tormented about my dog, you know, having to put him down. I mean, realistically, he would have been, 20 years old if he was still alive. So obviously, as the movie said, all dogs go to heaven. But it was the most difficult, painful moment. Other than, you know, almost losing my mom and my dad, it was the most painful moment, and I'm still tormented to this day. You don't know. You don't know what it's like. I mean, some of you probably do. It doesn't even have to be a pet. It could be a parent, a loved one, a family member, a relationship you're in. But, you know, just when I think that I could finally accept, you know, that my dog was out of his pain, his misery, that I was being selfish more than anything to try to keep him alive, then I have the dream. And in my dream, he's running around and everything is good. And sometimes I wake up in tears. And trust me, I'm one of those Italians that has a little bit of an ego. And when you got, you know, a nice hot mama sleeping next to you and you wake up in tears and you're sobbing and, you know, your significant other wakes up, what's wrong? Oh, no, nothing. I think I breathed in some dust, you know, so I hold it in. So these shows are without a doubt an escape. This stuff going on with COVID right now, I'm going to say something now that is too controversial for people famous to say. But let me ask you all something. Seriously, I want you to think about something for a minute. And like I said, Thursday nights we talk about everything. So if anybody is new and feels like we're not talking enough wrestling, trust me, we'll get into the ratings from yesterday. Yours truly missed both by this much. This much. We'll talk about it. Polio vaccine. How many of you out there have been vaccinated for polio? For measles? For other things? All right? Now, you're vaccinated. You know, you probably during your lifetime may have been exposed to someone here and there, maybe especially when you were in school, very young age. But here's my point. You have tens of millions of Americans, especially, because I live in the United States. When you have tens of millions of Americans who have been fully vaccinated, team vaccine, I've been fully vaccinated. So even if I were to get COVID, if I have no symptoms, I don't have to quarantine. Because the minute that son of a bitch enters my system, there is an army of antibodies in me ready to kick the shit out of COVID. I told you, it's like the Capitol. When all those assholes invaded the Capitol, they weren't prepared for it. Use COVID and the Capitol as an example. You had the riot at the Capitol, insurrection, whatever you want to call it, blah, blah, blah. Police, law enforcement were not prepared for it. So now, armed guards, you know, barbed wire, whatever it is. So if anybody dared to try to invade the Capitol again, they have no chance whatsoever. It's the same thing with this vaccine. January 6th is our bodies without any vaccine. So you get COVID with no vaccine, you break into your body like the Capitol. Once you get vaccinated, it's like the Capitol is filled with armed guards everywhere, that if anybody even tries to look the wrong way, there's somebody there to kick their ass. That's what your bodies are right now. So I say this to you. Why does it feel that people who are vaccinated, they are still pressuring people and forcing people to do every single precaution as people who are not vaccinated. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. It hit me like a ton of bricks. They are making accusations that white people have more privilege to the vaccine than blacks or Spanish or, minorities everywhere else. So the thing is that since a majority of the people who have been vaccinated are white, they don't want this big class of people going to a party, going out to dinner, going here, going there. Hey, we're all vaccinated. Everybody, we're requiring people to show proof that they've been vaccinated. This is a free country. We're vaccinated. Everybody here is vaccinated. Why can't we do the things we do? So because there is a ton of people out there who refuse to be vaccinated, because there are a ton of people out there that are having a hard time to find a vaccine, they are forcing everybody else who has been vaccinated, who have very, very little risk of getting seriously ill, and they still are forcing everything like they were before. Everybody is getting penalized because of those. And look, it's not their fault. People who have not been vaccinated, is not their fault. I totally respect anybody out there who doesn't want to be vaccinated. I don't think you should be forced to, okay? But when you have a group of people and everybody's been vaccinated, you know what it is. If they let a small group of people do what they want to do because they've been vaccinated, then everybody else who's been vaccinated does what they want to do. And then everybody who hasn't been vaccinated or refuses to be vaccinated, oh, why are we left out? So now everybody has to suffer. That's what it is. I understand the double masking. Do you notice that they brought up the double masking after the vaccines were really in motion? The reason why they're doing it is because they're trying to keep in everybody's mind that this shit is extremely, extremely still dangerous. And it is. It is. It is still a pandemic. But the numbers are down like 77% over the last month. 77%. And yes, we're on the right track. But do you notice how Jersey, 10% of people could go back to hockey? Why only 10%? Why only 10%? You did 7,000 people for a football game. You did 20, 30,000 for a Super Bowl. A lot of these politicians are addicted to the power. And they don't want to let that power go. And the minute, it's almost like Black Friday. You have a bunch of people waiting outside of a Walmart at midnight, waiting for the door to open up because there's TVs on sale for $30. And the minute you open that door, it's like a stampede that everybody just tries to trample on each other because they want, if they even open that door a normal amount, you're going to have it trampled down. So these politicians want to hold on to this extra power as much as possible. It's horrible. That's why, honestly, a year ago, I know it triggered some people out there because they're extremely jealous about, I've been able to work and I got vaccinated, this and that, because, there's a couple of sayings, if you snooze, you lose. And I said a year ago, do I want to tweet or do I want to eat? Do I want to sit at home and sulk and blame the world and blame Trump and blame Cuomo and blame de Blasio and blame this person and blame that person why I'm home and I'm unemployed and I got no money and I got no bills and I got no this and I can't do this, I can't do that? Or do you try to take a bad situation and make it as best as possible? And then, because you actually do get through it pretty decent, you feel like you're doing something wrong. It's crazy shit, man. Yeah. Doherty, you're right. It's money, it's power, and it sucks. It sucks. It really sucks. And you see these politicians with the power. You see with California, that guy Newsom, whatever his name is, they're trying to impeach him, and then he sends this giant stimulus You don't think that stimulus is just to try to get a whole bunch of Californians on his side? That's what it is. They're going to dangle it in front of people. When Andrew Yang wrote that tweet about now everybody now is going to get their $1,400 checks, people forgot about who they were aligned to and only cared about the money. It's greed. It's greed. It's greed and it's laziness. So I'm a little backlogged. Liam Savage, no question, right this second. Just wanted to say thank you for all that I do. You don't mince words or bullshit us, and we appreciate it. Liam, I owe it to all of you out there. Seriously. You know, you take your time to tune into my stuff. Whether we're talking about Dream 101. What's up, Dream? Haven't seen you in a while, Dream. Hope all is well, seriously. But, you know, whether you're tuning in to get a Raw recap or you're tuning in for the ratings or even tonight, every Thursday, where we just talk about whatever, wrestling, non-wrestling, poke a little fun at yours truly and my horrible indie wrestling attempt years back, or we laugh at some of the goofy stuff when I used to run hotlines, whatever it is. You know, you take the time to tune into what I do. I owe it to you to not only work 1,000%, but to be genuine and honest and not BS you. You know, like I said, there's so many people out there that only use people as a tool to make them feel wanted, to feel that they have attention. That's all they do. And unfortunately out there's a lot of people out there that would rather be friends with a lowlife than be alone on social media. And that's the God honest truth, Liam. And if you want a good example, whether it's friends, whether it's online friends, whether it's podcasters, whether it's anybody out there that's ever promised you something and did not deliver, and then you start realizing to yourself, if that person truly gave a shit about me, that person would work and sacrifice and do what is necessary, you know, to give back. And instead, excuse. So, trust me when I tell you, I don't underestimate how much you all mean to what I do. I posted, like I said, that little tweet and saw that Karrion Kross really liked what I wrote. All it was a screenshot of my channel, and my the total listens for the month went up 25%. As far as your financial support's gone up 45%. The number of people checking out the channel has gone up 40%. This is in 1 month, the last 28 days. And, you know, obviously a lot of you out there like what is going on in this channel. Some people absolutely hate the fact that I try to be reasonable, that I try to listen to both sides, that I try to look in good and stuff. People out there, there's a bitterness on social media. You know, that toxic environment that everybody talks about. Misery loves company. And you see people out there that are just grumpy old bastards, and yet they still have an audience because their audience are other grumpy old bastards. I want people, when you come here, whether it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekend, or even Patreon when we do stuff there as well, I want people to, you know, at some point, maybe get a little laugh, smile, forget about the bullshit in this world. And at the same time, though, you know, we don't overdo it with the positivity as well. I mean, you know, you got New Day, you know, everything is positivity, and that's awesome. And you have people on social media, everything is epic, unbelievable, unreal, awesome, unbelievable, this and that, because that is a world that we live in right now. That some people out there, it's just part of society now. It used to be a really radical, small portion of the world. About 15 years ago, I used to use a phrase, the pussification of America. I don't use the P word as much anymore. I rarely ever say it. But 15 years ago, I used to say the pussification of America, and I saw it coming. Just saw it coming. Little things here and there. And now it's embedded in the world, and it's not changing. It's not changing anytime soon. So that's why, honestly, I know some people hate me for it, but I said it a year ago, that from now on, I am going to be one of the most selfish son of a bitches till the day I die. I only care about myself. I only care about my fiance. I only care about my parents. And I only care about my online friends and my personal friends as well. That's all I care about. And that's all I do what I do for. My customers in my office, I do it for all of you, and I do it for them. Everyone else, I don't care anymore. I don't care about politics. I don't care about Trump. I don't care about Biden. I don't care about any of this shit. I just want to enjoy, have fun, laugh a little bit, obviously be aware of what's going on, but not going to get tied up with that shit anymore. I don't care. Even if I'm working my ass off and getting paid, if I'm entitled to something, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. You know, that's just it. When you see all these Republicans, I brought this up last year, that we're $22 trillion in debt, and they don't want to give a $1,000 check or whatever because we don't want to bankrupt our kids. Who you fucking fooling? We're already $22 trillion in debt. What's the difference if it's $22 trillion or $23 trillion? That's like me getting a credit card statement and it says I owe $100,000. And then I get another credit card statement that says I owe $90,000. Oh, big fucking deal. No matter what, I am screwed. These people do not care about you. They care about money and power. So, anyway. Shout out. Jay Carlos. Oh, I gotta we can't have that. Hey DT, you might not now, but all of your shows are his escape from reality. He really appreciates that. Every time I can just know you could count on he could count on me with support and vice versa. And thank you for everything and keep up the hard work. And shout out to Ken Terminated by DQ. Much love, Jay. Much love, Carlos. Seriously, I appreciate it. Look, I swear to you, I'm not kissing your asses. I'm not. I don't do that. I'm appreciative, but I don't pander because people could see right through that shit. You know that. But as much as you say that I help with your escape, you help with mine because we're having a conversation. I know there's a ton of you out there that can't tune in live. You know, I know there's a ton of you out there that don't like the video aspect of it. You know, you work, you walk, you drive, this and that. You can't look at video. I totally get it. And that's one thing that I started this week that I really got to focus on. That if I'm showing something video, like a picture online, I have to describe it a little bit for those that are on audio only. I can't assume that everybody out there can see what I'm talking about. That'll improve with time as I go along. But my interaction with all of you out there gives me an escape. Having a great conversation, whether it's wrestling or real life, that is an escape for me as well. So, you know, the only difference is I don't super chat you. I'm kidding. You know what I mean. But look, if I could be your mic piece in some way, shape, or form, you know, I don't want to use the voice or the voiceless term because you do have a voice, but obviously I'm the one with the microphone here. But if I could relay a little bit, you know, maybe more people will see some of the conversations we have and then they get part of the conversation and, you know, it gets bigger and bigger. So now we go to wrestling a little bit. Then we'll get into a few other things. Tyree Jones, where would I rank Jim Cornette as all-time great managers? He talks about how he hates Kenny Omega, So much because of his past of wrestling blow-up dolls. Hey, look. Wrestling a blow-up doll is stupid. Wrestling God is stupid. Wrestling a 5-year-old is stupid. But you got to understand something. I'm not defending it, but you got to understand something. You look at all of these arenas where shit like that has happened, whether it's the United States, England, Mexico, Japan, wherever it is, you have a big crowd there that are laughing it up and chuckling and popping and having a good time. You know, Jim Cornette needs to also address the people who are in the building enjoying it. Look, I have said, and this is the best way I could describe it, and I honestly think some of you out there may even say, DT, that's one of the best explanations anybody has ever given. And I'm not saying that to pat myself in the back, but I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to use an example right now. And this is interactive for everybody who is live. If you have access to a keyboard right now and you're in the chat room, and for those on audio only, I will read some of the responses. Tyree, I will take your super chat down for a second. For those that are live and in the chat room right now, I want you to type one or two of your favorite movies of all time. Favorite movies of all time. Top 2, top 3. You could type 1, you could type 2, you could type 3. And I'll make my point. It's like a 3-second delay. You'll allow me to have a little slug of my sparkling water. Because I'm going to make a point based on your responses. Okay. Joseph Dickens, Casino. Roger Rubio, Jurassic Park. And there is no wrong answer here, by the way. Gregory Audley, Celtic Pride. That's awesome. Yenda Rivera, Rambo. Goodfellas, Scarface, Nashville, and Blood Simple. Another Casino, Goodfellas, Shawshank Redemption. That's a great choice. White Chicks, Star Wars, Halloween, Empire Strikes Back, Johnson, Summer Family Vacation, Boogie Nights, Halloween and Batman, My Fair Lady, Back to the Future Trilogy, Aladdin, New Jack City, Devil Wars, Devil Wears Prada. Okay, that's a good one. Lord of the Rings, Logan, Black Panther, Dark Knight, Pulp Fiction, Home Alone. I mean, here's my point. People have asked me over the years, DT, what are some of your favorite movies of all time? Goodfellas, Godfather 2, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, starring Andrew Dice Clay, Spaceballs. Those are a few right off the bat. Love Shawshank Redemption. But you see, Spaceballs is in my top 5. I mentioned a movie on Patreon the other day I totally forgot about, Stripes, starring Bill Murray. Used to be one of my all-time favorite movies. Here's the point as far as what Jim Cornette says. Some of our favorite all-time movies are very, very serious, like Shawshank Redemption. Then some of our favorite movies are goofy humor, Spaceballs, whatever comedy you want to choose. Some of us, it's science fiction. Some of us, it's a musical. The point is that you don't have to have only serious items as your favorites of all time. If a goofy movie that makes you laugh, that you could watch 1,000 times to this day, and that's one of your all-time movies, that makes you feel good and makes you laugh. Do I make you laugh? Do I sound funny? What the fuck is wrong with me? My point is, comedy might be your favorite. So when you have Omega doing what we were talking about before, other wrestlers wrestling this, a kid, and you have a group of people laughing at it, sure, it may not be their favorite form of wrestling entertainment, but they're laughing and they're enjoying it. So that is their equivalent of me liking Spaceballs or me liking The Naked Gun or movies like that. Why? Because The Naked Gun is one of my favorite top 10 movies of all time that I get ripped apart by Cornette because it's too goofy, it's not serious. You see where I'm going with this? That everybody has a different, appreciation for a form of entertainment. Some people like serious movies more than others. Some people love horror films. Very interested that not a lot of horror films popped up on there. So the thing is, unless the crowd starts throwing debris, which I don't condone, unless the crowd starts walking out, unless the crowd starts chanting, "This is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid," Jim Cornette really, he can express an opinion, but Jim Cornette needs to realize that that is his opinion. His opinion is fine. I respect his opinion. He needs to respect the opinions of others that don't take it seriously, but can laugh at it and not get triggered and find that it's the most horrendous stuff of all time. So that's how I look at that. That's how I look at that. Cornette is, without a doubt, one of the greatest wrestling managers of all time. Now, there was a lot of wrestling managers that were a little past my time. I mean, once I became a wrestling fan, Captain Lou was pretty much a joke. I mean, and he didn't take his stuff seriously. I brought it up so many times. Lou Albano would get hit from a babyface, whether it's Rocky Johnson or Snooker or someone else. He wouldn't take a back bump. He would get hit, and he'd do like Billy Kay, just standing up. Billy Kay flails her arms. Lou Albano, he would just walk away. You'd punch him in the face, and he'd go like this and walk the other way. He wouldn't even bump outside the ring. He would just like walk through the ropes. You punch her in the face, I've had enough of this, and he walks through the ropes. Grand Wizard, I loved the Grand Wizard. Grand Wizard, I didn't appreciate until after he was gone. But as far as managers since the 80s, Jim Cornette, top 5, top 10. And just because some of you out there may never have seen Jim Cornette as wrestling was on at the time, you only seen it in footage, and, you have to understand why some people will say that. Just like with wrestlers. I mean, come on. I see countdowns. In fact, tonight's trivia, Who Am I contest, I actually did some research tonight to get some, good hints. And I came across like Bleacher Report. I don't really follow Bleacher Report, but Bleacher Report has an insane following. Insane. And I went on their YouTube channel, and they're doing like the top 7 GMs of all time with WWE. And, I thought that they were just randomly picking 7 and talking about it. No, it was a countdown. And look, I am a fan of hers. Without a doubt, you have heard me defend her more than anybody else probably with podcasting. But they rank Paige number 1. They rank Daniel Bryan number 2. I mean, nothing against Daniel Bryan, but number 2, all-time GM. I mean, I think Teddy Long was like number 6 out of 7. But that's just an opinion. But today, if you've only been a wrestling fan for 5 or 10 years, you're going to heavily weigh the people that you've seen than the people you have heard about or have seen just on archives. And that's why I don't get mad at it. Look, you think I'm kidding, Austin? Just type in on Google search, just type in top WWE GMs of all time and just type Paige and watch the first article that comes up. There's millions of views. And I looked at the number of thumbs downs, and it's only got maybe like 60 thumbs down. Millions of views. You would think, it would be, no, because a boatload of people out there have only been watching wrestling 5 or 10 years. So their, fandomhood and who they weigh heavily is going to be based on the last 5 or 10 years. You have to just accept it and move on. Yeah, Steve Austin, the CEO, Sam, was fun, man. Classy Freddie Blassie was great. Freaking loved Classy Freddie Blassie. Man, I always wanted to meet him. I had one opportunity to meet him once, and he was, I don't know what the circumstances were, but he was nowhere to be found. I didn't get a chance to meet him. So Fly, if I were on death row, what would be my last meal? No joke, I would definitely want one of these. Gerolsteiner sparkling water, I am addicted to it. I drink a case a week. Thank God I got a contact, which is my father owning a supermarket, that I could get it for cost, because some of the prices online, man, it's crazy. So that would be my beverage of choice. But if I can have my mom cook for me, I would have, and fuck the keto diet. If I know I'm going to die tomorrow, I'm going to eat whatever I want. I would want pizza. I would want probably a nice juicy cheeseburger deluxe. Definitely French fries, without a doubt. Linguine with garlic and oil. Eggplant parmesan. Or give me just some fried eggplants with some good breadcrumbs and olive oil. I think that would be good for me. That would be said. I'm not a big seafood guy. You know, I used to be a seafood guy. Everything I would see, I would eat. You know, that's a dumb joke that people used to say. I know. Really, really stupid. By the way, you want to see stupid? You know what? Let me catch up a little bit more, and then we'll show some stupid starring yours truly. Yes, we could laugh at it. I give you permission. James Edward. How do I think WWE should use Taya Valkyrie? Okay. Tomorrow night, in addition to the SmackDown recap and the quarter-hour ratings for NXT and AEW, I am going to talk about the press release that WWE released about all the signees that they've made official. You know, you've had, LA Knight was on that list, Gigi Dolin. I still say it like that because I think it's 1,000 times better than Gigi Dolan, you know. But Taya Valkyrie's on the list, Parker Bordeaux's on that list. I mean, there's some 2-3 years from now, you're going to look back at that class and you'll be like, ow, they got some big-time stars. Taya Valkyrie, in my honest opinion, I think should go right to the main roster. I want to make this clear. Just because when you sign, you're wearing a Performance Center shirt instead of a suit or a skirt or, you know, whatever your choice of clothing is, a jacket, just because you're wearing a gray Performance Center shirt doesn't mean that WWE looks at you as starting all over. Taya Valkyrie doesn't need to go up the NXT training process. Of course, the WWE style, the WWE mantra, and everything about it is going to be a learning process. So I think Taya Valkyrie would be best suited. Sam says DT would, Johnny Drip Drip. I don't think she should be with John Morrison unless they want to do something like when they used to do Eminem. They used to have Eminem, and not Eminem the chocolate, but Eminem with Melina. If they want to do Miz, Morrison, and Taya Valkyrie to be like the female part of that group, I'd be fine with it. But I don't think she should be utilized that way. I think you bring Taya Valkyrie in as an established female star. I could see her in NXT doing very well, but I personally think she is probably better suited to go right to the main roster. She is extremely talented. She just has to adapt to the WWE style. Yeah, I could see her paired with Morrison and Miz. Absolutely. I don't know if that would be the right way to go, but, I think of the WWE roster. I don't know if anybody ever thought about this, but, we do have women's tag team championship titles. I don't know who on the WWE roster would be a good pairing with Taya Valkyrie. I don't know if Taya Valkyrie even should be part of a women's tag team. I think she is better suited as a singles star. In fact, I probably would consider putting her on SmackDown than anywhere else. I think she could tear it up with Sasha Banks. I think she would tear it up with Bianca Belair. You got Bayley. I mean, on Raw, I'm not so sure with Charlotte and Asuka. And yes, I know what you're going to say. She is badly needed on Raw, but once Rhea Ripley comes in, you got Ripley, Asuka, Charlotte. You ain't breaking through anytime soon of those three. You're not. You're not. So, yeah, I could see her go to Raw, but I don't know if Raw would be the best fit for Taya Valkyrie. But I think we all agree that Taya Valkyrie is probably better suited for the main roster. Go right to the main roster. I don't think she has to go through the NXT ladder. But if she does work through NXT, you know, especially if some other female talents go to the main roster, she doesn't have to leapfrog as many people as. But you look at the NXT women's roster, it is solid. It is solid. But other than maybe 3 or 4 names, you know, she could be in that top 5 of the women's roster on NXT. So she doesn't have to leapfrog as many people on the main roster. The difference is the main roster is split into Raw and SmackDown. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Devin M., he swears he's not hating, but honestly, DT, do you see AEW being around in the next 5 years? Dude, you don't have to, you know, preface it with that. I have people that say to me, though, I think they'll be around a year or 2 from now. If you really want to know that, just ask. It's cool. It's cool. I don't think that's dumb to ask. He says, like, once the newness rubs off, will they have longevity? Look, AEW obviously doesn't have the pressure that Impact Wrestling does. Impact Wrestling has so many international deals, and they have to commit to them. And, you know, nothing against Impact when I say this, but when they ink a deal with blah, blah, blah stand that's 15,000 miles away, that you know that there's virtually no viewership, and if there was, there would be press releases every week talking about it just to have some big positive news going their way. But, you know, you got to work on, you know, why you're only getting 170,000 viewers in the United States. 170,000. So AEW, they don't have the pressures, the commitments like Impact or WWE does. But because they went right into the fire from day one, they could brush it off like, you know, WWE, we're not trying to compete with them in this and that. Oh, yes, you are. You know why? You know why they are? AEW is not stupid. They know that they're dealing with $1 billion company. They don't poke the bear like they used to, if you notice. In fact, believe it or not, I think Brody Lee's passing kind of calmed down the perception of bitter hatred between the promotions. And it's not going to get rattled again because Paul White signs with AEW. You see wrestlers, you know, even New Day, Kofi just had on his tights, Brody Lee. And they're not writing Luke Harper on their wristbands. They're writing the name he used in AEW. Yes, he used that elsewhere as well, but they're not even acknowledging his WWE name. And the thing is that you have wrestlers in AEW hanging out with wrestlers in WWE, taking pictures at parties, birthday parties, New Year's Eve, Christmas, this and that. And back in the day, you know, you had to keep that on the low. Look at Twitter. You see people in WWE liking tweets from wrestlers in AEW. And remember, the wrestler accounts on Twitter are WWE owned accounts, WWE trademarked names, and they're still. My point is that it is relaxed. That yes, you can have friends in the competition, and it's not controversial anymore that somebody appreciates something that somebody in WWE said, or vice versa. Yeah, Moose was working out with Tommaso Ciampa recently. That has dramatically subsided, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Now, getting to the specific question at hand, AEW, because they went right into the fire, WWE is competition for them. And hear me out, and I've said this before, though. Yes, they're not trying to overtake a billion-dollar company. That would be suicide for them. But here's the thing. WWE does not want to allow any promotion to get traction. You think WCW in the 90s, yes, different era, yes, totally not comparable to today. But here's my point. Nobody in their wildest dreams in the early 90s thought that WCW would get so big that it could threaten the future of WWF. Believe me, I lived through it. I watched it. And, you know, you see all the shoot interviews and all the bios and the documentaries over the years. Nobody in a million years ever expected that. Yes, it would be a totally different scenario these days, but WWE does not. Look, even when TNA was rumored to want to do a show in a particular town, how many times in the past, I don't have it in front of me, but you remember the stories that TNA wanted to do a house show someplace in some state, and it wasn't even in a building that WWE works in, but because it was in the same town where WWE does shows, that the building then changed their mind and said, no. And TNA felt that WWE screwed them over. You know that's happened. Look at the Garden. WWE doesn't have a relationship with Madison Square Garden like they used to. And you heard about New Japan, Ring of Honor, wanting to get the Garden and this and that. And there was a lot of news that WWE might be trying to block everything. They will not allow any promotion to get any traction. They're not going to say, you know, the wrestlers will say, oh, competition is great for everybody. The wrestlers will say that. If there's competition, it forces each other to up it a notch, and that makes the entertainment better. It makes the wrestling better. It makes the fans happier. It builds the fan base, which means more money, and we could all make more money to a certain degree. But as far as management goes, WWE's not going to, in management, is not going to sit back and let AEW get just a little bit of momentum. Oh, we have enough on our plate. They can have this much. That's not how you do competition. That's not how you do business. I used the restaurant example in the past. If I own a restaurant in my town and I have, you know, the number one restaurant, and I have, you know, good chefs, great customers, loyal customers, and somebody wants to open up a restaurant a couple of blocks away, you know, I'm not going to, you know, sit there and be like, oh, you know, good luck, you know, best of luck, I hope you could really make. No, because if even one customer eats at that other restaurant, that's one customer less that is not in my restaurant. That's how I look at it. So I want every customer to choose me as their choice to eat. Now, if all my tables are full and I can't take care of these other customers, then if they go to the other place, that's fine, because they view that place as a second choice. That's how business runs. You know, online, you know, you see the cuteness and the politically correct stuff about the releases. And I felt horrible about a lot of people who were released, you know, but they have to answer to stockholders. They have to answer to investors. They have to answer to a higher power, not social media. So when you hear record numbers and then you have people online, oh, in the middle of a pandemic, look what they did. Yeah. Unfortunately, I know it's politically incorrect and it sounds horrible, but if you're an entertainment company and a big chunk of your revenue is touring all across the globe and you can't do any of that, There's no reason to have 100 wrestlers or 60 wrestlers on your roster when you're forced to stay in one location for the foreseeable future. So you don't want to release people, but you're not going to have tons and tons of people just hanging around and collecting a paycheck. That was the death of WCW. People wrote books on how wrestlers used to get paid to sit at home. WCW would have all these people on the payroll. Why? Because there's COVID, that it makes it different? Yeah, it makes it politically incorrect, but business is business. You look back on it, and WWE has financial problems, and then they got to release even more people, and then you say, well, why did they keep all these people on the roster in the middle of a pandemic? You know, I know it's a messed up situation I have to talk about, but the bottom line is WWE is not going to allow AEW leeway to, build their own little, niche. And so AEW, as long as they just work on their own product, not have a major loss financially, and as long as they can build slowly. Billy Corgan with his 20-year plan, I know a lot of people thought that was nuts, like 20 years. You need 20 years. But AEW, I don't see any reason why they can't be around for 5 years from now. Why not? I mean, if they start signing some names and you start hearing insane numbers being paid, then you realize if TNT drops them and they don't have a real viable network to bring their product to, I don't know if streaming media is the answer for them. But being the number 2 player in town right now, if WWE could get billion-dollar deals with Peacock and with Fox, there's no reason why AEW, when their deal with TNT is up, doesn't get an even bigger deal than they have already. So right now, Impact Wrestling is an afterthought, unfortunately. They got some good things going, but business-wise, they're an afterthought right now. They're a Canadian company, pretty much. They're an afterthought. MLW is pretty much indie level, or just a drop above indie level. They're not, first of all, financially, they couldn't handle having events with 5,000-6,000 people, even if COVID never existed. So right now, there's nobody threatening WWE in any way, shape, or form. So AEW being a very, very distant second, they could get a couple of $100 million on a TV deal. And it makes you realize how sad it is that TNA, Impact Wrestling, can't find a better network and get a $50 million deal, a $30 million deal. Like AEW gets $175 million before they even took a shit. And you see that money being thrown around like Monopoly money. And here's Impact Wrestling, who's been around since the early 2000s, and they can't get any network to express interest in them, only other than what they're on right now. That tells you how confident, or I should say how non-confident, would be the antonym of that, how little confidence networks have in in Impact Wrestling. So that's how I look at it, to be honest with you. I think AEW will definitely be around 5 years from now. They have a very loyal fan base. I know people will say, oh, they should have 1 million people by now. Not everybody tunes in live. As long as they're watching a later week, yes, secondary markets is not prime advertising, but, you look at how many viewers they have on YouTube. Compare that to a year ago. AEW is doing fine. I just dropped sparkling water. Dayhawk, why is today's wrestling music so lame compared to yesteryear? Very simply put, the deals that are made. I mean, you don't have a Jim Johnston doing the stuff at WWE anymore, so they go out to these production companies to license music, and then what happens is the deal goes bad, like what happened with CFO. And then they have to redo everybody's music. And, you know, it's not iconic. The music is not iconic anymore. And a lot of the younger stars today are not iconic either. Remember when Roman Reigns turned heel almost a year ago? And within a week or two, all these exclusive reports, oh, WWE is going to change his look. And they're going to change his music. All he did was take his vest off. Really, that's all he did is take his vest off. I mean, everything is pretty much the same. You know, that's how people identify with them. So it's just music is secondary, you know, and plus you have iTunes or, you know, Apple, where how they get a production song, they license it out, it's cheaper, you know, and then they put it out. It is what it is. That's why you have Josiah Williams doing some stuff for WWE, because it's in-house, it's cheaper, and it also helps him too. Ruckus is doing great work in AEW. Ruckus is one of the very few people that I follow on social media, does great music work for AEW. I honestly, at times, like AEW's music a hell of a lot more than NXT. NXT has a couple of themes that are just awesome. And, you know, some of them fit the wrestlers beautifully. Then you got some others that are kind of But you know what? Some songs are growing on me. I freaking love the Hurt Business, their music. Lashley's, the music is sweet. So it's not as iconic as before, but, you know, it's not a priority like it used to be. Maybe one day it does, but right now it's not really a priority. It's not a priority. Let me do one thing here because I want to make this a little bigger. There we go. It's better. So, want to have some laughs? Want to have some laughs. Some people want to have some laughs. Thank you to everybody who made me feel like $1 million last week when I played that little bit of wrestling stuff. You know, looking back on it, you know, wasn't as bad as what people made it out to be. You know, some of it is awful. Some of it is awful. I admit that. Expect in the upcoming weeks to see some awful work by yours truly. But I have boxes of this that I stored away, that I never put online, part because of embarrassment, part because people have made me feel like, you know, you're a nobody in wrestling. You know, you were a nobody. You know, like, what are you going to do? Pretend like you were a star? And, you know, and that's what was instilled in my brain for years and years and years. And I realize it now, looking back on it, that some people out there just didn't want people to see some of the stuff that I did. I will be pulling that online. Devin says I look like a young Brock on that pull apart. No. I couldn't even move around, man. I'm going to show you 2 video clips now. One is only about 4 minutes long. It's what took place after a match between Balls Mahoney and Lowlife Louis Ramos. And then another one is from a wrestling promotion that was a school. It still is. It's a wrestling school and a promotion that I was part of as well. I want to give you a little bit of background as far as what you're going to see. Now, I have some awesome gems that I will be uploading in the upcoming weeks and months. I'm just going to randomly select things. You know, not every week I'll put it on, but I want to just set up what you're about to see. First thing I ever did on camera in wrestling in any capacity. Now, just imagine this. I have the footage. I'm not going to play the first appearance yet, maybe next week or the week after. The first time I ever did anything on camera, I had Abdullah the Butcher beat the shit out of Lowlife Louis Ramos. Then I have Mana, the Polynesian warrior, come out and beat the shit out of lowlife Louis Ramos. Imagine that. Imagine me, first thing I ever do in wrestling is bring Abdullah the Butcher out to destroy somebody. It's a little pressure, don't you think? Now, let's set this up a little bit. I was doing Wrestling Hotline. It got very big. ECW at the very end. I know some of you know part of this already. Trust me, it's only going to be 30 seconds, but ECW towards the end of their original run in 2000 contacted me. They wanted me to sell tickets through my hotline. And in return, I got to go front row, hang out backstage, made a little money out of it. So I pushed ECW tickets through my hotline, did very well. Then XPW came to the Northeast, and I was approached to work for XPW. And then Shane Douglas approached me to do all the bus trips for XPW. And you saw those Philly ECW arena shows for XPW. Half of the people in that building were because of my bus trips. So that succeeded. And I had my hotline, and I was doing the bus trips, and then XPW obviously went under on the Northeast. And then I got involved with Frank Goodman, USA Pro Wrestling. And because of my hotline and because of my bus trips and because of the following that I had, I was always able to get people at shows. So one time, at that time I would get a lot of hate online, a lot of hate. Fake posting. Some of it was the Mass Maniac. I would do it back under various names. If anybody remembers the message boards back then, there used to be a guy by the name of Don Cornelius. You know the name from Soul Train, but there would be this guy, Don Cornelius, that would troll everybody. That was yours truly, under a fake name, trying to give it back because I knew Mass Maniac. They would do some really horrible stuff. When my grandmother died in 1991, somebody made an entire list and said that I stole my grandmother's painkillers after she died, that I broke into her house and stole all her drugs. Like, this is what people would do to fuck with people online. So I got a lot of hate online, even though all I was doing was bus trips. All I was doing is my hotline. All I was doing was podcasts very early on. And, I was friends with lowlife Louis Ramos. I was in his wedding party, along with a lot of familiar names. I don't want to name drop it here because that's personal stuff. But Louis was a very good friend. And Louis said to me one day, he's like, why don't you do something on camera? You got all this attention online and people hate you. They probably would love to see you get your ass kicked. And I'm like, no, I'm good, like talking and pushing, promoting, giving ideas. I don't want to be in front of the camera. He's like, you should do it. It's like, all right, I'll do it. So Frank Goodman, to his credit, allowed us to come up with whatever storyline we wanted. So now at that time, lowlife Louis Ramos was getting married. And he was going to have his first child. And Louis, hardcore legend, God bless him, he still does it to this day. But Louis was legitimately going to retire and settle down with his family and focus on his family. So when online, and it wasn't really social media, it was MySpace and forums, but online, people were calling me a money mark. People saying that, I do this, I do that, I do this. So I decided to put it into a storyline. That Louis Ramos, which was 100% legit, was going to stop the hardcore wrestling and focus on his family. So the storyline that I came up with was that since I was technically part of USA Pro Wrestling Management, that it was not up to lowlife Louis to step back and wrestle regular matches. As long as USA Pro Wrestling was paying Louis, he does whatever we tell him to do. So the storyline was going to be that every time Louis was going to try to just have a regular wrestling career, I was going to have hardcore maniacs come out and force him to go hardcore. So the first ever time that I was ever going to do anything on camera, I was supposed to go out to the ring and bring out a scrub. Now, for those on the memberships down the line, I'll put the whole video on there. It's about 30 minutes long. If I do it here, people will shut off. Trust me, you don't want to see the whole thing. But First time I was going to ever do anything on camera. No experience, no school, no nothing. First time I was ever going to do something on camera, I was going to bring out a scrub. And Louis was going to beat the living shit out of this guy. Then after, I was going to bring out Mana the Polynesian Warrior. And I think he's promoting right now, by the way, overseas. He was going to come out and force Louis to go hardcore. Then at the very end, I was going to bring out Abdullah the Butcher. And Abdullah the Butcher was going to beat the shit out of Louis. And then I was going to staple a $20 bill to his head. I was going to staple to his head like, here's your pay. So what happens, and again, this is all on video. The first time I ever do anything, I'm supposed to bring out this scrub. The guy runs out the building in fear. He gets stage fright. He was a student, never been out, and the first show I ever did was in front of 1,000 people. Guy runs away. So now I'm standing at ringside, don't know what to do, have nobody guiding me, and Miss Maniac comes out on the microphone and says, fans, you're not going to believe this, but Louis' opponent ran out the building. Legit. Got cold feet and ran away. So now I'm saying to myself, what do I do? I got a microphone in my hand. There's people that legitimately want to see me fail miserably. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So me, I do the dumb, is there anybody in the back? If there's anybody in the back and then Abdullah the Butcher comes out, beats the shit out of him. And then that's when I went into the ring and I stapled the money to Louis' head. You've seen that pose of me over. And then I had the microphone and people were saying a lot of horrible shit at me at ringside. So I just thought of every insult that people used to say to me and I started dissing people. I went up to some Spanish guy and I'm like, you couldn't get a girl wet if you threw her in a pool. And I just started doing one-liners and people were laughing at it. I mean, it got into it. But even though it was a disaster, few people said to me, like, you know what? You're actually pretty smooth on the mic. And again, no training, no school. This was 2 weeks' notice. And the first time I ever do it is an epic fail. So what you're about to see right now is only the second time ever I did anything for wrestling. So now I just explained to you what happened the first night with Louis getting killed from Abdullah and me stapling the money to his head. This show, I had Balls Mahoney come out and beat the shit out of Louis. And Balls beat Louis. I'll show you the very end of it. And then I basically start berating Louis. And my point is, you know, we're forcing him to be hardcore. And here I am, I'm an absolute nobody, and I'm telling him off on the microphone, and I'm right next to him like, I should not be able to say these things to you. You should be beating my ass. And he beats my ass. And then the next one, which was the worst, I'm going to go one step ahead. The third time I ever did anything, I wanted to do a storyline called New Jack in the Box. Some of you on Patreon have already heard the audio from it. But Louis, his wife, was very close to giving birth. And fans legitimately bought shower gifts for Louis and his wife at a wrestling event. So I did something which was going to be called New Jack in the Box. And basically what was going to happen was there was going to be a CD given in wrapping paper, baby wrapping paper and everything. Louis was actually opening legitimate presents in the ring. Opened up diapers, opened up booties, opened up this, opened up that. And then someone was going to give him a CD. And it was supposed to be from me. And he was going to open the thing, look at it and be like, what's this? It's a CD with no label on it. And he gives it to the DJ to play. And when you play it, and I still have the audio from it, it's a kid doing a nursery rhyme. Jack in the box, blah, 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 blah. Da, 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 da. I don't know the lyrics to it, but it's a little kid. And then at the very end, you know, it would finish what it would do. And all of a sudden, New Jack's music would hit. And New Jack would come out of a box and beat the living shit out of Louis. And that's what it was supposed to be, like a Jack in the Box, but new Jack in the Box. But the audio was Jack in the Box, blah, 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 blah. Da-da-da-da. Then maybe next week I'll play that audio for you. But here's this Sean the Mick guy that always tried to sabotage my stuff. While the CD is being given to the DJ to play, Sean the Mick tells New Jack, go out there, beat up Louie. So my audio was never played by the disc jockey. He intentionally sabotaged it before the DJ could play the nursery rhyme. Sean the Mick tells New Jack, go out there and beat up Louie. Totally screwed up the whole story. And this went on week after week after week. So when you see my stuff, you realize that it was just over and over trying to sabotage my stuff. After the first clip, which is only 3 or 4 minutes long, then I'll tell you about the second one, which you'll get a kick out of. So here you go. This is only the second time of me ever doing anything. All right. And we got the other cam. So I present to you what went down right at the very end of Ball's Mind. Now, I did have to edit it a little bit, so Ball's music is not played. You're allowed to play a few seconds, but I had to edit it a certain way, so, you know, we don't have any copyright infringements here. So, here you go.
DVD! That's right. We were watching a DVD, right? Absolutely.
Oh, my apologies about the audio. That very loud audio is actually Sean the Mick talking, and his audio is all screwed up. That was the DVD. That's not on my end, so when you hear it. And if you hear him also, never used, you know, my Tony Cannoli name. He would always use my real name too, which always pissed me off also, because that was, he would never acknowledge it as far as being a character. So, all right, here you go. Here, let's start it again. All right.
DVD! That's right. We were watching a DVD, right? Absolutely. Oh, what a super kick that was. Knocked his head off from here to Japan. All the way. And now Ball is getting rid of that setup of the chairs for whatever reason. And now Balls Mahoney said something about him dying. I think.
Pretty good crowd, by the way.
To be honest. It's hard to hear it. Someone's at ringside. Who is that? A girl is at ringside and just distracted Pat Savino by putting Pat's, you know, face into her bosoms. Uh-oh. Oh, my God!
Rest in peace, Balls. Rest in peace.
Wow. Lights out, lights on, lights out. Absolutely. And Balls Mahoney.
Yes, Rep, we paid a little tribute to question mark earlier.
Win there against Low Life Louis Ramos.
All right, here it comes.
The fire.
See me?
Right
on the left.
Louis' face, and he got the victory. Fireball victory from Balls Mahoney on Low Life Louis Ramos. I see Anthony DeBlasi on the outside there. Do you see him? Absolutely. This guy, Anthony DeBlasi, for those that don't know and did not get Bothered by Nature, and you should buy it right now, rfvideo.com. But for those that don't know, on this last DVD, DeBlasi was the man who sent Abdul the Butcher after him. And then after the attack of Abdul the Butcher, Mana came after him as well. So, that's right. Now, DeBlasi's got a lot of beef there with Low Life, and he's stalking Low Life Louis Ramos, and he's checking it. This is what he said.
You see why you're losing? You know, you're losing yours.
Low Life was trying to attack DeBlasi, but he got attacked, I think, by Ken Sweeney on the outside there. Are you kidding me? Hang on a here.
To stop your undefeated streak a year ago. And I've been telling all these people out here to try to get this fire back in you. I should not be standing in front of you right now and cursing you out. You're doing nothing right now. I saved the money.
Well, it Low Life Ramos up, and Ken Sweeney drops it, but DeBlasi did get knocked out as well. Ken Sweeney, the great matchup it was. Great matchup.
He started rubbing blood all over me. You see him?
DeBlasi getting attacked on the outside. We got more action coming up.
I had my kid come out here and proclaim himself a hardcore champion and win
This is where I got my ass kicked. Watch the chair shot that I take. Look. My watch broke. I got hit with the rail part on my head. Split my head open. Oh, man, that was great, man. That was great. You know what the best part of it was? Tell you a little story, too. You got a kick out of this. Mr. Big, he's the guy wearing all the red. That guy is an awesome guy, seriously. And I said this last week. If Mr. Big, I know some of you talked to him, you got to show him this part. Whatever you want, I will pay you to let me get that footage of when we worked in Spanish Harlem, when I sprayed the hairspray. I tried to spray Sandman in the face, and he started smashing me with a Singapore cane, and I was spraying the ringside area. It almost caused a riot because it was Spanish Harlem, and I was spraying the ringside that trying to claim that everybody smelled. That never came out on DVD. So anyway, let me tell you how great Mr. Big was. That's the second time I've ever done anything on camera. No schools, no little promotions. You know, I tried to be as realistic as possible. Thank God I didn't stutter. I tried to act really angry. After I got smashed over the head with the chair and the metal railing, because you saw the top of that chair flew off of Ken Sweeney. So I got hit with just the bar. When we went into the back, I had a cut up here. Nothing big. Mr. Big says, come here for a minute. He takes gauze and he wraps it around my head. And he's like, walk around with this. Sell it. You know, you just got smashed, not only over the head with a chair, but with the metal part of the chair. He says, sell it. He wrapped gauze all around my head. And for the rest of the night, I walked around with this giant head of gauze. That's how much people cared. Yeah, Daddy Morgan, I always said I was 6'3.5", 6'4". I mean, that's how tall I am. The funny thing is, I'm about 60 pounds lighter now than I was at that time. At that time, I was heavier and I was in a tremendous amount of pain. And I honestly, for the life of me, don't understand how I was able to do some of the stuff that I did. In the upcoming months, when you see me take, you know, some crazy bumps, you know, managing, you know, I look back on it and I say to myself, my God, if I did this now, I'd be 1,000 times better than I was before. So now we get to the second clip. This second clip is about 9 minutes long. I figured you would get a kick out of seeing the whole thing. VPW is a promotion that's also a wrestling school based out of Long Island. Word started to get around, you know, that with the success of the hotline and pushing tickets, they want to do some work for them. Not only get fans to shows, but also wanted me to train. I went to their school and I tried to train to be a manager. I went to their school for about 8 months. I can't tell you how many times I vomited at their school, and I actually tried to learn. I ran the ropes, did back bumps, did things outside the ring, learning how to catch people when they dive and stuff like that. The problem is, and I talked about this on Wednesday, my neck, I guess from my car accident, was much weaker than I ever thought that it was. And taking painkillers masquerades some of the pain, but not all of it. And you know, every time I tried to do a back bump, my head would hit the back of the mat because my neck was too weak to be able to tuck it in. So, you know, over this time, I took some crazy chair shots. One chair shot that I'll show you in the upcoming weeks, I threw up all night long. The hardest chair shot I ever took, and it wasn't from Balls Mahoney. I've gotten hit from Balls Mahoney chair shots, but I got one once from Jason Static that I threw up couple of times out. Now, I'm not proud of it, but hey, I'm fine now. I had no brain damage. But so VPW, I started going to the school. So what you're about to see is the first time that I ever did anything on camera for them. This is only about maybe 2 months after the clip you just saw. And when I went in there, the storyline was going to be that my name was Tony Cannoli. Typical Italian greaseball, wearing a suit. And what I was going to do was I was going to bring cannolis out for the fans. And the fans would all think we were being generous, giving them cannolis. You know, I come off as a good guy, but then I'm left with an empty tray. And the empty tray would then be used as a weapon so my guy could get a win. So unfortunately it backfired. The tray smashed in a million pieces and my guy lost. But that was the first time I ever did anything on camera with the school. And it worked, like I said, it worked so well that when I did further shows with USA Pro Wrestling, they let me continue the cannoli thing. That's when I did the X-Lax and the cannolis, and you've heard that story 1,000 times before. So this now is the school trying to help me put it together. So like I said, some of what you're going to see in the upcoming weeks and months is horrible, but some of it actually is not bad at all. I can't wait to show you the Shark Boy stuff. I actually made a cooler just like Steve Austin with Shark Boy on it, and I actually tossed the beers to him. I was wearing my vest. It is probably the coolest moment of all that stuff, unless Mr. Big gives me that footage. So, no, believe it or not, James, I was only a heel, if you want to use that term. I was only a heel for about 2 or 3 months. But a lot of people at this school really, really embraced me. And, you know, a lot of people really got a kick out of it. So they turned me into a good guy. And then here's another little story I could tell you. One time we brought, if you know who Grim Reaper is, Grim Reaper had, I guess, a bulldog, French bulldog. And Reefer only lives about 5 minutes from me, if he still lives here. I haven't seen him in a bunch of years, but he had a French bulldog. I hope the bulldog is still with us, but he had a French bulldog, and one time he brought the dog to the show. And he wanted to use the dog out in the segment. And I don't remember who it was. It might even be the guy I was managing tonight that you're going to see in a minute. But the guy picks up the dog and accidentally drops him. And I have the footage of it. And you see some kids crying in the audience. They thought the dog got hurt. It was a little scary for a minute. So later on in the night, and keep in mind, this is family-friendly shows. So when I explain this, understand it's a family-friendly show. And I thank you for all enjoying the stories, because that's what these shows are about over here too. It's not just like reading news and having discussions. We tell some stories, you know. But like I said, I have footage to back all this stuff up. So later on in the night, we decided we wanted to do something with the dog again so the kids could go home knowing that the dog is okay. So when it came later on that I came out managing Grim Reaper and I think Jay Lover, when the music hit, the first person to go through the rope was the dog. I had the dog in my hand and I put it through the opening. So everybody saw the dog, nobody else. And you got to hear the reaction. People like, oh, it was so cool. But then I had the dog do the Bronco Buster on this guy's face. He was in the corner and they let me do it. I had the dog in my hand and I went like this. And you see this bulldog's nuts in the face of the wrestler. Did the Bronco Buster with the bulldog. Everybody loved it. Went home happy, and like I said, I got all this stuff on footage. So I'm going to share it with you. It's about time. It's about time. Yeah, it was a little scary. We knew right away the dog was okay, but you can't, like, in the middle of a segment, like, say, no, everybody, he's okay, he's okay. There were a couple of kids legitimately crying. You'll see that. So later on, we wanted to make sure to bring the dog back out there, and the dog technically got his revenge. He did the Bronco Buster. So... all right, so here you go. This is the first time that I ever came out there. So nobody knew the character yet. We went with Tony Cannoli. I did the cannolis. Now, I did edit out a little of it because, number one, the music. Number two, in hindsight, I was out there way too long giving away cannolis. Let me tell you another quick story. And if you think I'm making it up, ask April Hunter. I know a lot of you know who April Hunter is. If you ever talk to J.D. Michaels, ask J.D. Michaels. This event, and it was an unfortunate accident, this event, as you will see, I had some cannolis still in the tray. And because I was technically a bad guy, after I got hurt in a spot, people were laughing at me. So I visibly in front of them dumped the cannolis on the floor. You'll actually see it if you'll see it in the corner. I dumped the cannolis on the floor. Later on in the night, J.D. Michaels, who I think was the boyfriend of April Hunter at the time, I don't know how their relationship ended up, but April Hunter was also on this card. But J.D. Michaels was on this card too, and he did a match with someone, and he dove to the outside of the ring, and there was cannoli cream in the corner. They didn't mop it up, and he severely twisted his ankle. And he came to the back. He's like, I slipped on some fucking type of cream or something like that. And I felt so bad. This is the first time I ever was out there. So not only did I take way too long with the cannolis, but J.D. Michaels had a match, slipped on cannoli cream, and sprained his ankle. I guarantee you they remember it to this day. April Hunter, Lee, you want to know something about April Hunter? Never made this public. But if you think I'm kidding, you could ask her. When I did the drive for Conan, and I don't bring it up anymore because some people think I bring it up just to get attention. I don't do that for attention. Thank God he's okay, because we know about recently what happened to him. But when I was first really trying to push this, April Hunter was the first person in wrestling that stepped up and contacted me and said, if there's anything I could do to help. And I don't want to reveal how much she contributed, but she was one of the biggest contributors towards that drive. She donated quite a bit of money, and she wanted to help any way she could. That woman was a sweetheart, absolute sweetheart. Sorry, Darren, for teasing with the cannolis. So here you go. Sit back, relax. You will see the birth of Tony Cannoli. This is the first time I was ever Tony Cannoli, so we could watch it together. By the way, the wrestler I am managing, his name is Sabotage. I think his real name is Mike Law. Might be Mike Law. I think he is now retired. I hope he's doing well. I have not talked to him in a while. So here you go.
Tony Cannoli, that silent assassin, Sabotage. Oh, give me a cannoli. I want one too. Oh, I'm hungry. I got the munchie. It would go good with that tea, right, Earl? Oh, look at the fans. Oh, he's winning over the crowd. But Sabotage, he's a silent assassin. He cheated his way to victory against Richie Tyler at the last show.
I'll tell you another quick thing. Very quickly. This worked so well. They let me do another segment the following show, and I think I have the footage still. My brother, his wife, my two nieces, a bunch of people in Howard Beach, they all went on buses and went to the event. We had about 50 people that showed up. What we did, and I have, like I said, I'm pretty sure I have the footage of this. You will love this. You will love this. What we did was we took one side of the building, like the left side of the ring, and we put crime tape up. And we put like towels on the seats. And we took 2 or 3 guys that worked in my father's store in the produce section, and we dressed them up to make them look like, like illegal aliens. And they put towels in their arms. And what happened was I came out with cannolis, 6-foot heroes, soda, wine, and instead of going around the entire arena giving it away, I only gave it to one side of the building. My family, my friends, and people who showed up to see me work. So no joke, I don't know how old they were at the time, maybe 7 years old. My 7-year-old nieces turned heel. The entire building is watching one segment of the building, eating and drinking all night long. And you got to see it, man. That's what I loved about it. They let me do whatever I wanted to do as long as I kept it under a certain time, and it worked. Just imagine that, going to a wrestling event and somebody comes out there and they're feeding and drinking one side of the building, and my God, you have to see how pissed off people got. This is when I was a heel still. Then we realized that, you know what, it's better if we do the opposite. But that was iconic because my brother's not a wrestling fan. His wife, she don't follow any of this stuff either. And my brother's kids were 7 years old, and they're sitting in a section, and here I am spoiling that section. Darren is using the racist term, how do you look like an illegal alien? Okay. Illegal aliens usually go through the Mexican border. Those are the ones that are the most visible on camera. As far as going through the border in Canada or going through another country, you don't ever see the visual of it. You see the visual coming out of Mexico. So there were 2 or 3 guys that worked in the produce department that were of Latino descent that looked like what you saw on TV. So to try to make them look like that they were serving people, not a racist, but we made them look like that they were waiters. You go into some diners and you will see that some people go out there and then look at the people who wash the dishes. Have you ever seen on a news segment where they say, oh, the illegal aliens are the ones that take the jobs washing the dishes and doing this? That is a true legit thing. That is legit. You go on the news today, that's what you hear. Oh, you're going to raise the minimum wage $15 and this and that. There are people who unfortunately get certain jobs that regular Americans don't want to do. They're too lazy to wash dishes or scrub floors or this and that. You go into a diner where I live or in this state, and you see that there are people that unfortunately all they do is wash dishes for a living. They take whatever they can. You look at gardeners, and it's stereotypical that gardeners in the neighborhood are Mexican. It's not a racist thing. It's just that is the perception of people who were serving or people that were working here, so we played off on that. It's not being racist. It's just playing off with the stereotype. Jesus. I know he's kidding about it, but some people will take that as serious. By the way, when you do see that segment, when I put it online, they ate and drank also. So I don't want you to think they were slaves. So anyway, here you go.
I think he's trying to give him a heart attack.
All right.
He's taunting the crowd. But Tony Cannoli is giving out all these cannolis. He's winning them over. I don't know what he's doing.
Tony comes over here.
See, I'm giving away the cannoli so I can sneak a weapon at ringside. That was the story.
Tonight, Richie Tyler. Richie Tyler suffered a defeat to Sabotage the last show, and now we're going to see if he can pick up a win here.
Oh,
Sabotage
you got the vaccine, Doug, right?
And both just unbelievable athletes altogether.
Yeah, I was very impressed at the last show. We saw their rivalry unfold in VPW. We've seen them in the past, it's really intense and heated. I just can't wait.
I know the perception, Danny, was that I was being a good guy,
Silent assassin,
but I was
ready to go.
trying to get rid of the cannoli, so I'm left with an empty tray, and we were going to use it as a weapon at the end of the match, so my guy could win. That was the idea.
Definitely. Oh, here he is, Richie Tyler, a great young man. We saw him at the last show. Very impressive.
These were all family-friendly shows. So that Sabotage is the one I'm managing, and he's facing Richie Tyler.
As Tony Cannoli continues to give out cannolis to the crowd.
Now, when you watch, you'll see later on I dumped the cannolis on the floor to be spiteful.
walk from. They picked him up the streets of Brooklyn or Howard Beach, I believe. I hope not. Yeah, right? The thoughts in the fans. Did you see the thousands of fans that grab those cannolis? Oh, they're all pumped up. I'm ready. Let's get this action.
This technically was the first managing stint I ever did.
Victory Pro Wrestling show. He's chanting USA, but I don't know. They're both from USA. You should be. What's the chance of England?
I am from London, man.
Oh, London. Oh, here it is. Oh, nice float over. Oh, look at this amateur wrestling going on. Wow, nice. Oh, he's taking it. Oh, look at him slapping him around. Oh, Silent Assassin is frustrated. Oh, he's gonna give him a cannoli maybe. He's gonna give him a. Oh, he's fixing his hair. What is he? His hair shirt? How bad is Tony Cannoli to offer?
The Don Tony name, I got that about 2 or 3 months after this.
We are wrestlers.
Cars of it. All right, let's get back to the action. Oh, nice clothesline, Richie Tyler. Oh, another one. He's in phenomenal shape. He could go hours and hours in this ring. Oh, nice back leg lariat by Richie Tyler. 2. Oh, that was a quick count. What do you think?
I don't know.
Maybe he wants to get some cannolis. Oh, he knocks him over the top rope onto the concrete floor. I
didn't realize how big I look next to this guy. Look how big I look. My God.
Like I said last time, if Sabotage not
telling the guy, time out, time out.
Oh, wait. Richie Tyler goes to the top. What is he doing? Oh, nice. Oh, what a high-risk maneuver. He took out both Tony Cannoli and Sabotage.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
What's up, Gabriella?
BPW action at its finest.
We're watching when I was Kakas doing managing stuff.
Sabotage, 2 minutes.
See, I dumped the cannolis?
He's hurting.
That's where JD Michaels sprained his ankle.
BPW, the veterans ain't cleaning this. Oh, come on. How did the ref not see that early?
It tripped him up.
He dumped his trained cannolis.
Oh, no, come on. This is wrestling, though. He's supposed to be impartial. Oh,
I think the audio is like off by a second.
Oh, there's another shot to Richie Tyler trying to press his chest over. Oh, off the rope. Oh, stiff forearm. Oh, big knee. Oh, the keister right into his face.
What do you think about Richie Tyler now?
I hope he didn't have any of those cannolis. He could be filled with, a little. Nope, he's not lactose intolerant. Oh, nice. Russian leg sweep by Sabotage 2. Oh, 2 count. He's getting up. Oh, he's throwing his elbow pads at him. That might hurt him later on. He might need those elbow pads.
I think Sabotage the one that wrapped me up in bubble wrap. That one match I told you about. I have to go back and look at the footage.
Richie Tyler he lives in the air. He loves it up there. Oh,
is a versatile athlete. He can be in the air, on the ground.
Yeah, we saw the amateur wrestling. Now we see him going.
Wrestling.
Now he's taking it to the air. Oh, here it is. He could be a superplex. Oh, he's blocking it. No, he got it. Oh, devastating. Wow.
My God.
High impact. Both feel the effects. Sabotage is hurt.
I missed what, Stoney?
Earlier. This could be in 1-2. Oh, he gets up. Ooh, barely gets up. 2 count. Sabotage. Impressive. Hanging
If
in
you're
there.
saying doing this,
The advantage. Oh,
I told you,
back and forth.
3 promotions want me to do stuff
Sabotage
once
getting
this
the
COVID is
advantage.
over. I'm going to probably
This
do
could
it,
be his Northern
at
Lights.
least for
Oh,
one.
into a DDT.
and I want to be 1,000 times better. Otherwise, I won't do it at all.
Tony Cannoli trying to help out. What is he doing, too? Oh, you got to watch that Tony Cannoli. I don't like him. He seemed all nice to me giving away Cannoli.
But now it seems like he's a shifty character.
Yeah, he's shady from Howard Beach. You know, those guys from Howard Beach are pretty shady, I must say. Oh, nice suplex, Richard Tyler. 1, 2. Oh, Tony Cannoli he's licking up the cannoli. He's eating. I think he had one too many cannolis. Oh, what is this?
Definitely one too many cannolis.
Oh, wow. He knocked him into the ropes. Nice reversal by Sabotage.
Remember, these are school shows. So, you know, it's not meant to be like a polished promotion. These are people learning their craft at the time.
Look at this. Oh, here's another. No, wait. Another victory. 1, 2. No. Oh, here it is. He's setting up for that. No. Oh, nice reversal. Sabotage showing some nice. Oh, Dragon suplex devastated. He knocked him right in his neck.
I will say, I'm not a big fan of Sabotage's out-of-the-ring personality. I do know his talent, though, is immeasurable.
Yeah, you got to respect his in-ring ability, Earl. I agree with you.
I mean,
are they all retired now, Gabriella? Nah, it sucks, man.
From anywhere, just let me know.
DPW, the VFW Hall. Oh, he's going down to one knee. Oh, the crowd rooting for Richie Tyler. This could be it.
trying to hang in there.
Oh, he got him on the floor.
This was horrendous. My stuff in this was horrendous. But like I said, as the months went by, got better and better and better. And when you see the end part of it, I was pretty proud of it, actually. This is the first one I ever did. First one.
Choking him up. Oh, the crowd willing on Richie Tyler. Oh, nice elbows to the midsection. Richie Tyler, nice shoulder tackle. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, nice spine buster. Shades of Arn Anderson. 1, 2.
No, James, it gets bad in a second.
Close fall there.
Very close by the... Oh, what's he set him up for? What's he
I
going
couldn't
for?
move.
He's going for a
I
kick
told you, I was like,
of some sort.
it wasn't just being 60 pounds heavier. I just was in so much pain I couldn't move around.
That's the one.
I mean, even trying to
Tony Cannoli
like I could
distracted.
fall great, but climbing.
Get him off the apron. Uh-oh, he's distracting. He's distracting Richie Tyler. Oh, come on.
This is wrestle crap.
Oh, no, the silent attack. This is why they call him the silent assassin. Look, he's very silent. Come on, Richie, turn around, Richie.
See, I kicked the tray.
He's gonna lay him out. Oh, wait. Oh, no, here's the Cannoli tray. Oh, he knocked Tony Cannoli. Oh, no, he knocked Tony Cannoli with his own tray. That's what he gets.
See, I kicked the tray to him, used as a weapon, and he accidentally hit me.
Here it is. 1, 2, 3, yes.
Watch closely. I actually, my mouth got busted open, and I actually spit blood in somebody's hand. I feel bad. I don't remember it, but you'll see. I actually grabbed somebody's hand and spit blood in it.
Sabotage is going to use it
Watch.
against him, but he knocked his own manager out. Oh, the crowd's loving him. The crowd loves him. Yeah.
Right now.
Wow, I love it. This rivalry's fantastic. Oh, he's going to celebrate with his fans now.
What a guy.
Oh, yeah. Look at him celebrating with his fans.
He loves his fans.
He loves Long Island,
Watch.
New York. The fans love
I felt
him.
bad. Watch.
Sabotage devastated. It looks like it's
See, you
all
didn't
even
see me
now.
kick the tray. I kicked it towards my guy so he could use it as a weapon.
Oh, man, you're so happy.
I
You love Richie
Here, watch.
Tyler. It's good to see you young. Oh, look at he's hugging the white kid.
That's nice.
He does it for the family. Oh, what a
There was
good
actually
young
two
man,
trays.
man.
One
Richie
split in
Tyler.
half and the other one just shattered in a million pieces. Here, watch. I
Very
spit in his
classy,
hand.
Very classy.
I spit in his hand. Oh my God. Oh, my God. So there you go. Like I said, some of this early stuff is not very good. You'll see later on, some spots me getting suplexed, getting dived onto. There was one point where I climbed the top rope to try to distract someone, and I got knocked backwards through tables and stuff. It got better, trust me. But the early stuff is horrendous. But you'll see it as it comes across. But I loved it, man. I miss it. I had so much fun. And you'll get to see it. If I ever get that footage from Mr. Big, it's the ultimate. Because that night I think I managed Grim Reaper and Homicide. And they took on the Sandman and I think Raven. And I came out managing these guys, and I brought out a thing of air freshener. And I started spraying around ringside, and I was going like this and pointing to the people at ringside. And, I thought people were going to start a riot. After the show, everybody was cool, take it personal. It's part of the show. But later on, I tried to spray the hairspray in Sandman's eyes, and it wouldn't come out. And like a bad cartoon, I'm shaking it, and Sandman is getting ready to Singapore cane me, and I'm shaking it, and I look at the can, and I spray myself with the hairspray. And then I got Singapore caned, and then I saw Sandman, and I shit my pants, and I ran under the ring and took a shit under the ring. Yeah. No joke. There is footage. Like I say, when I tell stories, I always try to back it up. Maybe I should have backed up some of this stuff years ago, but you're getting the opportunity to see it now. So anyway, you want to do the contest? Because how long are we going already? We're already going 2 hours. I think we got to start wrapping this up. Remember, we got a show tomorrow. Saturday, I'm going to do a little stuff over the weekend. And then before you know it, Monday is back. So we got to start wrapping this up. But I'm telling you, oh, man, you have no idea how much stuff I got. So, and after all of this, I don't feel like I was really in the business, like people say. Like I said, a lot of people at that time wanted to see me fail so bad. We could shut this other cam off. Let me take this off. It's all right. We can get rid of that. People wanted to see me fail so badly that they just ripped apart my stuff. But like I said, the biggest critic, which was Sean the Mick, when he, towards the latter part of it, actually wrote a review of a show and said, the show was so bad that the person who did the best on the show was me. And I know that's not that much of a compliment, but when you think about all the wrestlers that were on the show that night and the fact that I was the best part of it, or I did the best out of everybody, I kind of felt pretty good. Yeah, it's me watching me. Anyway, let's do the contest. We'll bring back the wheel. Bring back the wheel. All right. Let's fix this a little bit. That's better. All right. There we go. I think that's good. This contest. Oh, yeah, Stoney Loney. Let me tell you all something. Give you a piece of advice. Seriously. Has nothing to do with being in wrestling. Let me give you a piece of advice from me, what I dealt with. A lot of that hate was 15 years ago. It went on for years. I started doing stuff for XPW in 2002. That's when I really started getting bullshit. I didn't get too much crap in ECW because all I had at the time was the hotline for the most part. When I started doing stuff in XPW, that's when I really started getting bullshit. And that went on from 2002 to 2012, so about a 10-year span. So here's my honest, legit advice to every single one of you out there. When you see what goes on with social media these days, and you see cancel culture, and you see some of the crap that goes on, and you see how misery loves company, and you'll see people out there who are the lowest of the low, and they portray themselves as wonderful people, whether it's a pleasant picture or pleasant sounding voice, and they lie about their lives for so long they actually start to believe it. My point is that a lot of these people are very bitter people. That's why you take away the negative tweets, especially, there's no social media footprint at all. 90% of everything they write is negative. And here's my advice to all of you out there. When people today say to me, DT, how do you deal with these assholes? How do you deal with hate? How do you deal with, backstabbers? How do you deal with trolls? How do you deal with this? Everything that I dealt with back then, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, fake posting, people saying that I dealt drugs, that I stole drugs, that I did this, that I'm a racist, that I called New Jack the N-word, which never happened, this and that. This all prepared me for what goes on later on in years. The number one piece of advice I could give all of you out there is you have to have thick skin, especially if you do a podcast, especially if you do anything online that gives you any type of exposure. You have to be able to have thick skin. You see too many times, you get people that portray that they're the toughest people around, and the first time somebody trolls them, I mean, you could see that it eats them up like battery acid. They can't stop talking about the person. They can't stop writing about the person. They can't stop blogging about the person. They can't stop podcasting about it. Like, one person says something and they get triggered beyond belief. That's not thick skin. You have to be able to trust me when I tell you, those death threats that I got last year when I criticized Sami Zayn for when he made the comments about Americans who just wanted to go to hair salons and stuff like that, I'm telling you, almost nobody online would have been able to handle something like that. When I had the little war with Stevie Ray, when I had that back and forth with Kayla Braxton, when I had that back and forth with others, you get these mobs that come after you. You gotta really, really stand your ground. And, thank God in the end, cooler heads prevailed, and, apologies were made in every situation and Darren says, where does one buy thick skin? You can't buy it. It has to grow. It has to build, and over the years, that's why even though a lot of people look back and say to me, wow, Sean and Mick was an asshole. Frank Goodman was pretty much of an asshole. And some of the other people out there, I got news for you. I always credit Frank with helping me grow thick skin, because all of that bullshit that I went through, made me stronger, and you see people online that, can't even handle one person fucking with them. Imagine getting a whole mob. And like I said, the first thing I ever did on camera in wrestling, it was sabotaged. It was ruined. And what do you do about that? Do you just run away and you just, put your head between your legs and, no, you got to deal with it. So you have to grow thick skin, especially with the climate that we have today that goes on online. So, Jay Carlos, I take chair shots to the head like a boss. It didn't feel good. But, when I said that, I loved every minute of it, trust me, it hurts. But when you're into it and that adrenaline is rushing, it feels fucking phenomenal. Like, there's just, I have the footage when Louis put me through a table with about 500 thumbtacks on it. And I had thumbtacks in my head, my back. You'll see it. I got hit over there with a bottle. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it because, and that's, look, I'm not comparing me to Moxley, but that's why I loved Moxley's promo so much last night on Dynamite. When Moxley said that he's addicted to that hardcore stuff and he loves it and this and that, I truly believe that. It's an adrenaline rush. That's why even Darby Allin with all these crazy stunts that he does, it's an adrenaline rush. Am I an adrenaline junkie? No. I physically couldn't handle too much of it. But when you're in the middle of doing it, and you know that whatever was just done was done right, or it looked good, or it sounded good, or both, that feeling trumps anything else. So trust me, getting hit over the head with that chair with just a metal rod, that shit, kind of split me open a little bit over here, but I was like, man, how did it look? That's all I cared about. That's all I cared about. I loved it, man. I loved it. Doug MacKay, much love, man. I hope you're doing well. You got the first vaccine. If you get a little fever, you get a little soreness, that's your body doing what it's supposed to. It's not a negative thing. It sucks to get it, but within a day or two, you should be over it. And trust me, you get through that little, hiccup with the side effects. In the end, you'll be, trust me, I'd rather deal with a little side effects getting vaccinated than getting COVID. It's what it comes down to. Doug also says, Minority Report, all of us were blank, all good now. I know where you're going with that. Look, I have no personal hatred towards anybody. Joey 924 truly was a good guy. And I said this a couple of months ago as well. He truly was a good guy. I mean, obviously, with his disability, hiding behind that really caused a big problem with the shows. But at heart, he was a huge wrestling fan, a really nice guy. And you know what? If anybody still talks to him or ever gets the chance to talk to him, ask him about the XPW shows that he went to. He was a guest on one or two of the XPW shows, and I got him to meet Chris Candido, God rest his soul, Tammy, everybody that was in XPW. You got to meet them all. Him and Black Moses went on the bus trips as my guests. So believe me, that's why, like I say, when people say to me over the years, how come you don't hang out in person with this person or this person? And now when you see all this stuff, you realize, wait a minute, DT was part of 70 to 80 indie wrestling events in New York, Queens, Long Island, Spanish Harlem, Jersey, Brooklyn, and all those people decided never to go to any of them. You know what I mean? So when people try to say like, DT, how come you don't hang out with this person, this person, this person? Well, you had 70, 80 chances to do it. And the only two people that ever came was Joey 924 and Black Moses. So, but it's all good. It's all good. And shout out to Mr. Stoney Loney. He is so stoned right now, he forgot to write something. So, no, but, I look back at the Minority Report and it was fun times. But we got to have fun times now. That's what matters. Yeah, SoFly, this chat room is kind of weird tonight. It gets a little bit here and there. Last night there was a little bit of anger going on. But like I said, everyone here, I know that there's other chat rooms that are dominated by a dozen people. Or you have a chat room and the in thing to do is to make fun of everything and bitch and complain and, put down things, and lots of LOLs. Here is where we're all supposed to hang out, have a good time, chat about whatever, laugh at yours truly with some stuff, maybe win a prize in the process. Let's try to get along in this chat room. I do not like blocking or removing anyone here. Stoney Loney, I do look at the Facebook comments live. The problem is that sometimes they don't pop up in the software that I use. Tonight, it's not streaming on Facebook. It's only streaming on Twitch and YouTube. And I did that by design because I wanted to see if any chat comments pop up on Twitch. So, look, unfortunately, I have to run everything. I have nobody that is assisting me with this stuff. I am working on someone who is going to be screening when we take calls. A lot of you want me to take calls, and I want to take calls. I have the phone number done, purchased, set up, but somebody has to work as a screener. And it's not just, hey, I'll be a screener. It's not easy to run the program. So I have someone who I actually am throwing a couple of dollars their way to be a screener for the calls. So, once this person is ready and able to do this, then we start taking calls. But, as far as here, this chat, especially on YouTube, we're family here. And like I said, the last thing I want to do is mute anyone or remove anyone because, shit it's not even trolling. It's just some people have different views on wrestling. Some people here are huge AEW. Some people here are big anti-AEW. And, just let's try not to have all that hate. Try to win a prize right now. Because the contest tonight, it is easy, 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 easy. Someone is going to win this in about 15 seconds, 30 seconds. I'd be shocked if it goes more than 30 seconds. These contests are not supposed to be like total brain surgery. The idea is to just do an easy contest, spin the wheel, whatever the prize lands on, or unless we do a physical prize. So tonight's contest is easy. Don't overthink it. This contest, you have to guess 2 people correct. You have to write their entire wrestling name. Trust me, when you figure out who the 2 names are, it's not going to be that difficult to do. So I am going to read you a couple of hints that I put together myself, and you have to type both names correct. Don't type one and then type the other one later on. In the same line, you got to type both names correct. And I'll give you an example right now. I am going to go in the chat room and I am going to type, let's see, Triple H and Mantar. Obviously, those are not the choices, but that's an example of what your choice, your entry should be. Got to type both names in the same line. I'm going to give you some hints. And the first person who gets both names right will win a shot at the wheel. And as you see, the prizes range from 0, the purple's a 0, big fat goose egg. You got $20, $25, a couple of 50s, $75, $100, $200. Whatever it lands on, you win it. So is everybody ready? Are you all set? Get your typing stuff ready, because I'm going to read you these hints. You got to get both right. And again, it's not hard. You should be able to get this almost immediately. All right. So I have the chat on the screen. So whatever is on the screen, that's how we determine who the winner is. Get ready to type fast because this will go fast. All right. Who am I? It's 2 people. One of us won Wrestler of the Year in the Wrestling Observer, while the other one won Worst Gimmick of the Year. Obviously different years. We both won Rookie of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine. Both people won Rookie of the Year for their years. Okay? We were both portrayed as sons of fathers that really weren't ours. We were a pair of bastards in wrestling, giving people a chance to type. We wrestled against each other in the past. Wow. Nobody yet. Nobody yet. We've both been seen on TV wearing diapers. I think that hint might give it away. Come on, you got to get it. Both of us have been humiliated by a McMahon. That's got to give it away. I see where some of you are going on this. Nobody has it yet. Nobody has it yet. Both of us have been seen on AEW television. I'm looking at the chat very closely. Nobody has it. Oh my God. Somebody's got to get it. Some of you are so freaking close, man. Oh my God. Oh, there we go. We got a winner. We got a winner. We got a winner. Kevon Lewis. Kevon Lewis. He was the first one. There you go. Hornswoggle and the Big Show. That is the choice. Wow. That was a pretty damn good one. Holy shit. Let me repeat these. Believe it or not, the Big Show and Hornswoggle both won Rookie of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Yes, Hornswoggle won Rookie of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. The Wrestling Observer voted Big Show Rookie of the Year in 1996. I kid you not. No, and he got voted Wrestler of the Year. The Big Show got voted Wrestler of the Year in the Observer for 1996. Go look it up. When they both wore diapers, Hornswoggle was seen wearing a diaper with the Inner Circle segment. Big Show wore that giant diaper in the ring. They both got abused by a McMahon. Stephanie slapped the shit out of Big Show. Vince McMahon beat the crap out of Hornswoggle, which was awesome. When I said that they were both bastards, Hornswoggle's first name in WWE was the Little Bastard, and Big Show for a little while was known as the Big Nasty Bastard. They've both been seen on AEW television. Pretty damn good. Oh, and they were both portrayed as sons of fathers that really weren't theirs. Hornswoggle was the bastard son of Vince McMahon, and the Big Show was allegedly the son of Andre the Giant. Kevon. Yeah, Kevon was first. If you want me to scroll back, I will be kind enough to scroll back. Let's see. Let's scroll back. Yeah, there you go. Kevon Lewis. Kevon is in green. See on top? See in the middle right now? Kevon Lewis. He just follow the greens. Nobody else got Hornswoggle in the Big Show. I'm going all the way back. Look. Nobody. He was the first one to get it. A lot of people were saying Jason Jordan, which I tell you, that's not a bad choice because, Kurt Angle with the father thing, but Jason Jordan was not Rookie of the Year, I don't believe, and he was never abused by a McMahon. So, wow, I'm surprised that was not, I expected it like that, especially when I said they were both bastards in wrestling. I thought maybe some people think Pac for a minute, but, once you say the other hints, can you believe that Hornswoggle won Rookie of the Year? Big Show won Rookie and Wrestler of the Year. Yeah, and Jason Jordan never wore Pampers on camera. So, let's spin the wheel. Let's see what Kevon wins here. So, good luck, Kevon. Obviously, this is live, so I can't, finagle it. There is no thing to, stop it, whatever it lands on. So, what I will do, I will put it on the goose egg, like I always started with, and we will spin it. In all fairness with Meltzer, might have been fan voting, but, you look at the Observer newsletter and people always say, oh, the fanboys of the newsletter, all these Japanese fans and this. One time they voted Big Show Wrestler of the Year. All right, so let's spin this. Good luck, Kevon. Big money, big money, big money. $20. I'll give you an option, Kavan. You got an option. You could take the 20, or if you want me to spin again, whatever it lands on, you get half of it. So if it lands on 50, you'll get 25. If it lands on 20 again, you only get $10. So you could take the 20 and be done with it, or I spin it again, whatever it lands on, you get half of whatever that number is. So you could win $100, or you could take the 20. That's up to Kavan. I like this. Oh, and by the way, we are getting another wheel. I like the feedback from Wednesday. We're going to put various topics on the wheel, and then some nights we're going to spin it. So Kavan, we're waiting on Kavan to see if he wants to take the 20 or if he wants me to spin again, and whatever it lands on, he gets half. So if he doesn't respond soon, then we'll just give him the 20. He's probably thinking about it. He won. I don't think he would log off like, hey, I won. He said, I'll take the 20. Okay. Let's spin it just for the hell of it to see what would have happened, right? Prince Ali, why do you want to be blocked from the stream? Why do you want to be blocked from the stream? Nobody's telling me your problem. Let's spin it one more time just to see what it would have landed on. So, and we got to keep it honest here. So if it landed on something bad, then you made the right decision. So if we would have spun again, whatever, we're going to give him the 20, Darren. But we'll spin it again just to see what he could have won if we spun it again. So, remember, whatever it lands on, he would have gotten half. So we'll see. Ready? A big fucking fat goose egg. Need a timer on here? Maybe. I don't know if people noticed. I'm starting to automate the lights a little bit. Watch the background. Pretty cool. I could actually change the colors if I want. I could make it purple. I could change it around. I don't want to screw up the colors, but yeah, we'll finish that later. But yeah, little by little, I'm going to make everything like strips, and then we could control the lighting depending on what we want to talk about. So, but anyway, so we're going to start wrapping this up. You know, we've been going about 2.5 hours. I have a lot of posters. You know what I've been getting into? I'll show you what I've been getting into. I have about 20. And what I'm going to do is once I fix the lighting, I'm going to put a different one in the background every show. I'm going to always rotate on the shows. I've been collecting license plates. See, Knight Rider, these are actual plates. See, that's from Knight Rider. I like the stickers from May of '82. This is from Caddyshack. This is Rodney Dangerfield. Remember, that's his license plate, Cervic. That's his license plate from Caddyshack. Back to the Future, Out of Time, and probably my favorite one of them all, from Seinfeld, Ass Man. Remember the car, Ass Man? I wanted to put this legitimately on my car. It's not allowed. But I have other plates inside. We got it from the Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters, Smokey and the Bandit. I mean, there's so many. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I'm going to start rearranging. I don't know if you could see it. Let me take the chat room. If you look on the left, see I got Carrying Cross up there, but the lighting is not the way I want it to be. But the Carrying Cross poster actually looks good as well. So, Darren, I'm a hoarder reminder. What does that mean? I'm a hoarder reminder. By the way, a few of you, Ass Man is from Seinfeld. Austin, if you want a good laugh, just go on YouTube, type in Seinfeld, Ass Man. You'll get a good laugh out of it. So I legitimately wanted to put this. So let's see. Ratings. Yesterday, my prediction for AEW's rating. Remember last night? Oh, Kavan, email me, dontony@dontony.com. I could send it to you either PayPal. If you want PayPal, I'll send it to you tonight. If you want an Amazon e-gift card, I'll send you an Amazon e-gift card. If you want a money order, I'll mail you a money order. But like I said, if you want like PayPal or an Amazon e-gift card, if you email me tonight before I go to sleep, I'll send you the money tonight. So, yours. But yesterday with the ratings, my predictions were AEW 828, NXT 740. Those are my predictions yesterday. I predicted 828 for AEW. The actual number was 831. I was only 3,000 away. My prediction for NXT was 740. The actual rating was 734. So we almost nailed it yesterday. Look, Friday night, I should have the quarter-hour breakdown, and we will get into the quarter-hour breakdown. We will see if the trends continue with some wrestlers. Grizzled young veterans, oh boy. I'm not saying it in excitement, but I think that number they do with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, I think it's probably going to be the worst quarter of the night. When do you start considering pulling the plug on some of these guys? Everrise, look, I brought it up every week. Ever since we made that joke about them a month ago, they haven't been on TV. I don't know why they're postponing the title match with MSK. Maybe because they want to focus on the women's side right now. They did the injury angle to buy some time. But the quarter-hour ratings tomorrow are going to be interesting. And I got news for you. If you remember last week, NXT opened up with almost 1 million viewers. Almost 1 million. After that, all the quarter hours were pretty much in line what they've done before. You take away that quarter hour from last week, and if you remember what I said, and just give them an average number like they normally do, their rating last week would have been almost identical to this. So when people say, oh, NXT had a nice increase this week, not really. Not really. Especially with that major storyline with Adam Cole. It's honestly, I think these numbers should be a little bit better than what they have been. I don't know if the women's tag title match is going to be enough to get them over the hump next week. But, we have AEW going into Revolution the following week. So next week's Revolution should be big. It's going to be interesting to see Shaq. It's going to be interesting to see if Paul White has any interaction with Shaq. We'll see what happens. But James Edwards asked me, best finisher, Tombstone or Jake Roberts' DDT? I always thought the Tombstone was better. Don't get me wrong. When I backyarded with my friends, some of us love to give each other the DDT. Your head would hit that fucking edge of that stairs or the steps, and that shit would hurt. But the Tombstone, not many of us ever tried to do the Tombstone. You hold your friend upside down, and then you go on your knees, and you see that head bouncing off the floor. Man, you slip your hands even a little bit, you just watch that compression on that spine, and your friend is fucked. So the DDT was a lot of fun, but I always liked the Tombstone more because the Tombstone was pretty much the pile driver. And when the suspension of disbelief is you're getting spiked head first. Now the DDT, you get spiked head first into the mat also. The difference is your body is level with Jake Roberts. When you're getting the Tombstone, you're upside down. So all of your weight of your body is compressing against your neck as well. Storyline. So a Tombstone should do 1,000 times more damage than a DDT. The DDT is more forceful, but you're technically still on your feet when you take the DDT. When you're Tombstone, all your weight is crashing down. So that's where I go with that. Why does everybody do it now? Easy move to do. Easy move to do. People like to do it. There's some moves that people absolutely love to do. You know, I mean, you know, I think the tope suicida is way overused. The dives are way overused. I mean, don't get me wrong. You saw that video earlier with me managing that guy, Richie Tyler, dove onto us. So there's always been dives, but lately there's been a lot more people doing it. So look, it gets, you know, people love to do it. You know, you obviously, you know, telling a story in a match, but you know, you have some moves that you absolutely love to do. And a lot of wrestlers enjoy doing some of those moves. So, Addison, if you did the old school tombstone, God bless you, man. I was too petrified to pick up my friends upside down. I'll tell you, I've brought this up before. The worst move that I ever took from my friends was the neck breaker. Remember the Masked Superstar, Bill Eadie, and he would like swing you like this and then turn you over? My friend did that to me, and the edge of my head hit like some carpeted steps, and I was knocked out for a few seconds. That was not fun. I had somebody put me in a sleeper hold. Trust me when I tell you, when Hulk Hogan put Richard Belzer to sleep, which happened to be on my birthday, by the way. I think it was March 27, 1985. When he put Richard Belzer to sleep, and it was all over the news the next day, and Belzer was going to sue Hogan and Mr. T and WWF, and, you know, because him bleeding and cracking his head, every single one of my friends started trying to put everybody in sleeper holds. And we would put somebody in a headlock and just squeeze as hard as we could. And the blood stops rushing to your head and you get knocked out for a couple of seconds. You have no idea how many people tried to copy the sleeper hold. Because if any of you out there have never seen that spot, go on YouTube, type in Hulk Hogan Richard Belzer, Beltzer. You can't miss it. Hogan puts him in a headlock and he squeezes like this. And you see Belzer's body just go limp. And then he just drops him. And when he drops him, Belzer goes backwards, hits the back of his head against the floor, and splits his head open. You actually see drips of blood. And then they go to commercial. I'll never forget that. But all he did was squeeze like this. And we were like, we could do that. And we would just put everybody's head in a headlock and just squeeze as hard as we could. Boy, we were stupid. Oh my God, we were stupid. Frog splash, we never did, but the Superfly splash we did. And that's how I broke my arm back in the day and broke my ankle, you know, doing wrestling moves. I climbed, a lot of you know this story already, I climbed a sliding pond. We were at Juniper Park, where I used to live in Middle Village, and they had the sliding pond. You would climb up and then you slide down, almost like when you go into a pool. So I climbed the top of the sliding pond, and my friend laid out on the floor, and they had this padding, but it was like a really hard plastic. And I'm all the way at the top of the sliding pond, and I do the I love you, and my friend is laid out on the floor. And when I jump off, my friend decides, fuck this, and he moves out of the way, and I landed the wrong way, and I broke my arm. True story. Broke my arm. Went to the hospital, and then my grandmother made me feel better, took me to Original Grove Arena, and Bob Backlund autographed it, and then I went out to dinner with all the wrestlers. So, good came out of it, trust me. Havili, could AEW reunite Chris Jericho and the Big Show as a tag team? Anything is possible. They're not going to call it Jeri-Show, but anything is possible. Believe it or not, I don't know if you've ever seen Big Show's interview with Steve Austin, Smoking Skull session. If I recall, Big Show said that his favorite tag team partner in his career was Chris Jericho. You would think Undertaker by default, but no, for Big Show, his favorite tag team partner was Chris Jericho. So, Doug MacKay, he says he still has the AJ. Wow. That's right. That's right. The AJ Styles signed photo. I've given away a boatload of prizes over the years. I enjoy doing it. Obviously, you know, it gets a little bit more difficult as time goes on. Plus, expenses get elevated, especially when you're trying to do more. The equipment, the hosting and all that. But you know what? As long as everybody is having a good time, that's priority number one. And I tell you, we're 2 hours and 40 minutes in. I'm going to start ending this now. But, I had somebody in wrestling challenge me to do a 12-hour show. Do part of it for charity. And I said, okay. I said, as long as you come on for a few minutes. I don't want to say who it is, but he's a WWE Hall of Famer. So if I do part of it to charity, he will come on. And I know a few of you out there who do podcasts been talking about loving to have you on as well. So I would say either, since WrestleMania is only about 45 days away, somewhere around that, I think right before WrestleMania, maybe we do a 12-hour show. Like I said, I don't expect you to tune in for the full 12 hours, but I definitely am interested in doing it. I think it would be pretty fun to know that we'll have 12 hours of doing this stuff. And the good thing about it too, even with the videos, if I mean, obviously I'm gonna have to take a leak. I'm gonna have to take a dump. I'm gonna probably want to eat something. So, if I got a 5-minute break during it, I could put on a video and then I could go run to the bathroom and do my duty. So, but yeah, no, seriously, I'm definitely interested in trying the 12 hours. I absolutely think we would have a ball, for real. I mean, go into it with the right mindset. It would be a Saturday or Sunday for sure. And as of right now, I'm thinking late morning to late evening, because that's not all that bad. If I did, let's say, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., I probably would get more people overseas to tune in early because it's only afternoon time for them. There's a lot of you that tune in overseas. I know Havili is tuning in right now. I mean, what time is it by you? It's got to be like, 7 in the morning? But, we'll see. I definitely would want to do it, and I want to do it before WrestleMania. So I'll give everybody an update. But like I said, for those that are members here, I'm going to put up the full match with Balls and Louie and a few other things. And, like I said, I'm putting it there because it would be brutal to have people sit through, all that time over here. I'd like to put highlights over here. Down the line, maybe we could release the whole thing publicly. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. Doug is in Scotland right now. So you're a big time. You're early morning right now. So... yeah, we'll work on that. We'll definitely work on that. Yeah, see, Darren, right now it's 5:50 a.m. I swear to you, I don't want to make my United States friends that are with me right now live, I don't want you to feel left out of this. But honestly, not even porn would have me stay up until 4, 5, 6 in the morning for a show. I mean, maybe 10, 15 years ago, possibly, but there's nothing that would keep me up in the wee hours in the morning for any show out there. When I was into the wrestling radio shows here in New York, we had 66 WFAN, and late at night on the weekend, they would do a wrestling hour. I'm sure some of you remember. I think it was Rich Mancuso that used to do it, and I would stay up for that. ECW, when it aired on the MSG network and it was 2 a.m., I would stay up for that. But other than that, man, I absolutely love the fact that you all tune in. That's why, like I say, man, you tune in and you're loyal here. It's my obligation to work hard and try to have as good of an interactive, fun show as possible. I mean, you never, and that's another thing, especially for podcasters out there that are live with me right now. Never take your friends and family, people who tune in, for granted, because, you keep making excuses that this isn't happening. Oh, my computer broke. Oh, this. And every week there's an excuse not to do something. I mean, look, sometimes I don't want to do it. I'm tired. I'm drained. I'm having a problem with a customer. Might be something with my family. Thank God, luckily, because these are on late, usually all those things are ironed out before showtime. But there's sometimes you just like, man, today's just not the day to do it. That's totally understandable. And I got news for you. Your viewers would probably appreciate it 1,000 times more if you just said, look, today's just not the day to do a show. Than saying, oh, my internet is not working. My computer's... And look, it does happen. On March 3rd, I'm switching over to Verizon Fios. Verizon Fios is finally available in my complex. For 20 years, I've wanted Fios here because their internet connection is insane. They just installed Fios here about a month ago. I didn't even know about it. So March 3rd, they will be here installing it. So Spectrum goes bye-bye. But I think people out there deserve the truth. And when you keep making excuses for not doing things, you're basically just telling the people out there that they're not valuable enough, to put in the effort. I'd be insulted if I was a big supporter of someone and every time I supported them, I get an excuse in return. Maybe that's why I don't pay attention to a lot of shows out there. Because, me, I like the personalization. I like interacting with all of you, especially live. There's something pretty cool that we could all hang out and have a nice conversation. I don't like just hanging out in the sidelines. But, so anyway, I'm going to get out of here. So for everyone out there, that was with me live tonight, it's a pleasure, as always. I apologize to some of you out there that saw a little bit of commotion in the chat room earlier. Nobody trolling, but not everybody gets along with everyone. I don't know if you have the feature of muting other people in the chat room. I'm pretty sure that there's got to be that feature for some of you out there. So if you're in the chat and someone is annoying you, if you have the capability to just mute them so you don't see their conversation, do it. Do it, because that's what I do. That's what I do all the time. There's some people I feel bad. They'll say to me, oh, I sent you a couple of tweets. And I'm like, look, I didn't see any of them. Well, how come you didn't see them? Because I have everybody muted. I just don't want to see all this negative shit on people's walls. So, but anyway, everyone have a great night. Awesome night. A lot of fun. Thank you for having fun with me, looking at some of my old stuff. Yes, some of it is really cringeworthy, but it does get better. It does get better. And we'll come up with some fun next week. And thank you to everybody who hung out. So before you go, as I always say, and yes, I have it here, if you enjoyed the show, smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. And Darren is saying for me to please answer Sam's question and wish him a happy birthday for Tuesday. I did wish Sam a happy birthday Monday. But Sam, do I think Big Show was sent to AEW? All right, I this is a good question to answer. Do I think Big Show was sent to AEW to ruin it like Vince Russo went to WCW? No. Look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that WWE's value of the Big Show in 2021 is a lot less than AEW. WWE let go Jerry Briscoe, let go Mike Rotunda, let go others. They've brought back a few as well. But the thing is that WWE has a plethora of people who used to wrestle, Billy Kim, others. I mean, some of them are obviously released because of COVID, cutting back, but some are still there. AEW does not have a plethora of people working behind the scenes that could be. Let me say this about Big Show, since I brought up Smoking Skull session earlier. One of the things And I'm not a big fan of Steve Austin's interviews because they've gotten extremely soft. The one with Sasha Banks was so freaking soft. Might as well played footsie underneath the table. Sasha was fine, but not challenged on anything. But the one thing that I do remember when Big Show was on Steve Austin's, Steve Austin asked him, what's the best piece of advice that you ever got? Best piece of advice. And Big Show said the best advice he ever got from everyone is to show up to work every day like it's your first day. And that is awesome to hear, because this guy, 20 some odd years in wrestling, has the mindset that you show up to work every day like it's your first. And I said it yesterday on Wednesday Night Don-O-Mite. The one thing you have to give Big Show credit for is this guy shows up to work every day, doesn't bitch, does what he is told to do, and that is somebody that is good for your company. WWE does not need him in that capacity. If they kept him, his value to them was less, so they would have offered him less money. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. You'll have websites that'll write news articles, oh, the reason why Big Show was gone, or why. There's nothing controversial about it. Big Show felt that he was worth more, and WWE thought otherwise, so he left. No, he's not going there to be head of creative. He's not going there to sabotage. Big Show has nothing in his history to sabotage anything. The man is a good guy. I don't know him personally, but everybody that always talks about him says that he is just a huge teddy bear. Yes, that doesn't matter to us, but at the end of the day, this is not a bad guy. Maybe, the latter years of his career, people haven't enjoyed it all that much. Fine. I'm totally fine with that. But this is a guy has no history of, just negative, inability. The guy always works hard. So, that's it. That's it. Darren, thank you very much. He has more value to an up-and-coming company that needs more veteran, experienced people who have done the grind, who have succeeded in the grind for 20 some odd years. Big Show in AEW, it's too early to tell if it's going to help them, but my gut feeling says it will help them tremendously, because no one has said yet, for the most part, that Big Show is just going there for a huge payday and he's going to sit on his lazy fat ass and do nothing. This guy probably has enough of a nest egg and does enough stuff outside of wrestling that he probably doesn't even need to go to AEW. The guy still loves wrestling, and he thinks that he could contribute. Give him the chance. If he doesn't do it, we'll be able to figure it out very, very quickly. And then we could criticize the hell out of him. But, when you're a big man like that should have been dead already, and who has competed for 27 years, is that right? 27 years? 1994 is when he started. 27 years. So you have a guy that size for 27 years that, has done the best that he could. You kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. So that's what I'm doing. It's very easy to just rip on this guy, crack jokes, look for that catchy tweet to get the likes. And no, most of those people that do that, just look at their surroundings and look at the people who LOL with them. You know what I mean? That should tell it in itself. I know it's not as interesting and entertaining to say something like that, but give him the benefit of the doubt. That's my opinion on it. So it's 4 o'clock in Australia, 4 p.m. Havili, enjoy your afternoon. Everyone enjoy your evening, morning, afternoon, depending on where you live. I will be back here Friday night, 10:05 p.m. We will do SmackDown. We will do quarter-hour ratings, and we will talk about the latest additions to WWE and anything else that's on your mind. So, much love, everybody. Good night. We're right at the 3-hour mark. And you know what? I got to do this. It would be so disrespectful if I didn't give a shout out to La Familia, La Nostra Familia, my good family. If anyone out there wants to sign up, no obligation. I don't want anybody to ever feel that you have to do anything like that. But if you want to check out the memberships, if you want little perks from emojis, we're going to do some exclusive Q&As, put up some extended versions of the wrestling stuff. You know, you can check them out. And like I said, no, I don't want anybody to feel like you have to sign up for anything, but those are the friends of the family, so I got to give them a special shout out. So much love as always. Everyone, I wish you nothing but the best. Stay safe. Keep your head up. You've gone so far with all of this crap going on in the world. You could get a little bit further. Maybe tomorrow night we'll talk about Potato Head. For people that have no idea what I'm talking about, just go on Twitter and type in Potato Head. We'll have a discussion on that tomorrow. So, all right, everybody, take care. I'll catch you all again Friday night. Much love. And talk to you soon. Ciao.